A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia. Claudia, based on the original stories by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
I'm coming. Quiet, Major, quiet now, please. That's a good Major. Oh, be good. It's all right, Major. Go on. Now go on back to sleep again. I'm coming. Stop ringing. Oh, get out of my way, you chair. Mom, I thought you were David. Why'd you ring the bell? You woke the dog up.
This is a fine welcome. Where is that monster? Don't let him jump on me, please. And why should David come home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
You'll be dizzy, one question at a time.
It's contagious.
Come on in, but quietly, please.
I am not in the habit of stamping. What is all this? Now I know. Claudia, has the dog turned vicious? He didn't bite you, did he?
Don't be silly, Molly. He doesn't have to bite. All he has to do is bark, and he scares people to death. Mama, come in now. I want to tell you what happened yesterday when I brought him home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know the revolving door downstairs?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was revolving today. Yesterday it was revolving. You know, like it wasn't flat open like it sometimes is.
And?
Well, we got in all right, and then just as we started to go forward, the door hit him from behind.
I get the picture. He didn't like it.
That is an understatement, Mrs. Brown. I hate to brag about my own dog, but his reactions were not normal.
What do you mean?
Instead of jumping forward, so we could have been in the lobby, he just stops. Just stops dead.
He just stopped.
He tried going backwards, it hit him in the nose. Whichever way he went, the door hit him in the other end. He didn't get mad or anything. He just sat down. And people inside the apartment wanted to get out. People outside wanted to get in.
And nobody got anywhere.
Not for a long time. I was very mortified.
Well, where is he now?
Gone to sleep, I hope.
Oh, well, you look like you could stand a little rest yourself. You look terrible.
We didn't sleep much all night.
You look like you had 3 small babies all at once.
The word is triplets. I feel like it, too.
Well, what's wrong, Claudia? Tell me.
Nothing's wrong. I've never been happier in my life. Neither's David.
Then why is he coming home in the middle of the afternoon?
I phoned him to.
In words of one syllable, why?
To help me take Major out.
Can't he go out by himself, a big dog like that?
No.
Fine time to find it out. Why can't he?
I'm getting to it. Don't wake him. Shh. I guess he must be getting used to your voice by now.
I'm flattered.
Here's David, thank goodness. Oh, darling, you're wonderful. You got here in no time. What'd you do, fly?
Yeah, I had to fly out of a meeting. Where is he?
Oh,
How is he?
beautiful, gorgeous. I'm more crazy about him every minute. Darling, he knows you.
Sure he knows me. Hi, you old fella. Hello, Major, old boy. There you are, old boy. Good old fella.
Hello, David.
Oh, hello, Mother. Isn't it some pup, huh?
Some household. Be careful of that lamp.
That's Mr. Tugger's second lamp he busted today. Mama, I have a whole list of things you have to buy that he broke.
Are you helpless?
I can't leave him, and I can't take him either.
What is all this? Has he an allergy to fresh air? If so, you're in an even worse mess than I thought.
Oh, we'll get him out all right, don't you worry. Did he eat his lunch, Claudia?
Everything in the house. All the rest of the hamburger. He craved more, so I gave him a couple of raw eggs and a can of beans, too.
Oh.
It was all I had, and he adored it.
Come on. Where's his leash? Want to go out, old fella? Come on, old boy.
Hey, wait a minute. I'll go with you.
Did you get the cod liver oil?
I ordered it over the phone, but it hasn't come yet.
Oh, why does Claudia need cod liver oil?
Well, she doesn't. She's strong as a horse. It's for the dog.
I'm going home.
Hey, don't you like him? Come on, Major. Come on, old boy. Say hello to your nice mother-in-law.
I am not his mother-in-law.
That's right. What am I talking about? You're his grandmother.
Licking my hand. Now, stop it, will you? That's my glove.
Well, give it to him. He just wants to play.
And I want my glove. David, what's gotten into you? You're both acting like imbeciles over that dog. and coming home in the middle of the day. How do you expect to earn enough to feed him?
Well, this is an emergency, Mama. He hasn't been out yet.
He must have.
Well, you mean he should have?
Wasn't he out last night?
Well, Claudia brought him home late, and he didn't seem anxious to. It was raining. He
And
doesn't
this
like rain.
morning, what didn't he like this morning?
Well, I wanted to take him for a walk before breakfast, but I had an early appointment, and Claudia said she'd do it.
Well, why didn't she?
You'll see why I didn't. Here's his leash. Come on. Come with us, Mama.
I don't see much pleasure in staying here by myself.
She loves the dog, David. She's too proud to say so.
Sure she does. She's going to spoil him to death.
Huh.
Come on, old boy. That's a boy. Hey, don't knock me over. Look, he wants to go out.
Well, naturally. Why you two children didn't take him out before
I told you, you
Now, Major, I want the whole household to know you're awake.
The whole street knows it after last night. He made himself night watchman of the entire neighborhood out the window. Every time anybody walked past, he barked.
You'll have to get rid of it.
Over my dead body.
Over my dead one, too.
Oh, you're mad, both of you. Why don't you use the elevators?
He doesn't like elevators. Besides, we don't want to call too much attention to him.
David could put him in his pocket.
Now, don't be bitter, Mother. Here we are, Major. Come on down the steps, old boy.
Well,
Right.
go on.
Come on, old boy.
Why is he stopping?
That's why. He doesn't like steps either.
Come on, old boy, come on.
I'm beginning to see.
You push from the back, Claudia. I'll pull.
He doesn't move. He's nailed to the floor.
Somebody must have frightened him about steps. Come on, you big sissy.
Well, what are you going to do? He can't stay in the apartment day after day without a breath of fresh air, the poor thing.
Isn't she cute? We'll get him some air, Mother. Don't you worry. Here we go, Major. Come on.
David, you can't carry him.
That's what you think. Here we go, Major. Up we go,
Oh,
old boy.
yes,
He weighs
David.
300 pounds.
Only 150. Come on, he loves it. You know, he seems a little quiet for Major.
Yes, he's burning our candle at both its ends. He keeps us up all night, and then he sleeps in the middle of the afternoon.
Well, it wasn't such a bad idea. After Major settled down, we got a bit of a nap before dinner, too, didn't we?
It was fun to take a nap in the middle of the afternoon, like Sundays.
I'm a respectable architect. Don't expect me to make a practice of it. Say, Claudia, what did you do with Mr. Tucker's goldfish? Did you put him in the globe with the other one?
No, he's right there on the table by the window.
Is he?
The bowl is.
Exactly. But it's empty.
David, that was the noise we heard last night.
Which noise?
Don't
Take
you
your
remember?
choice.
You heard water or something. We prowled all over the house looking for...
Yeah.
Oh, the poor fish.
Oh, I really don't think Major likes fish, darling. I think he was just thirsty and inhaled the fish by accident.
Carnivore ought to be better and a lot less expensive. I have to tell Mama to add one tropical fish to the list I gave her.
Maybe you better get two. We ought to have a spare just to be on the safe side.
That's a house telephone.
Here, I'll talk to those people downstairs. What's the matter with him anyway? The pup hasn't made any noise tonight at all. He's been asleep ever since supper.
He jumps in his sleep. Maybe that's it. Say, you better let me talk to him,
Yeah,
David.
sure, go ahead.
Hello? Who? Who? For us? Oh, I see. We'll send him up.
Who was it?
It's funny, David, and Mr. Morgan in the lobby to see us.
We don't know anybody by the name of Morgan, do we?
Morgan. Sounds awfully familiar, but I just can't place it.
Probably somebody wanting to sell us a vacuum cleaner or an encyclopedia. or
They
something.
only do that in the daytime. Morgan. Where did I hear that name?
There it is now. Better hold Major, Claudia. I'll open the door.
I beg your pardon. This Mr. Norton?
I can't hold the dog, David. Quick!
Look out there. The dog won't bite, but he'll probably knock you over.
Now, Major, old boy. You glad to see me, old fellow?
He acts like he knows you.
Of course he knows me. There, Major. Quiet down, old boy.
So you're that, Mr. Morgan. Now I remember.
What, Mr. Morgan?
The Mr. Morgan that Major belongs to.
I thought he belonged to us.
Down, Major, old fellow. Now, lie down. That's a good boy. Well, look here, Mr. Norton. I'm most awfully sorry about this. I do trust you won't mind giving him up.
Give him up?
Well, that's rather a blow, Mr. Morgan. Of course, if there's been any misunderstanding about price, I'd be more than willing to...
Oh, but look here. It was never a question of money. It was just a question of finding a good home for him.
The apartment is awfully small, Mr. Morgan, but we do love him, and he'll have every convenience, even if we...
I'm sure of that, Miss Norton.
Then why do we have to give him up?
Truth of the matter is my wife doesn't like dogs. And by gad, a man oughtn't to be separated from his dog just because a woman doesn't want her house mister.
Well, you have something there, Mr. Morgan.
Yes, what's a house compared with a dog?
Exactly.
I think I'm beginning to understand. You want Major back. Is that it, Mr. Morgan?
Well, frankly, I'm at your mercy. Of course, if you'd had him any length of time, I wouldn't feel right in asking you, but...
It's only been overnight, but feels like forever. I just can't let him go.
Now, look here, Claudia. We might as well be sports about it. Mr. Morgan's right. No man ought to be separated from his dog.
I know I wouldn't let anybody separate me from you, David, so if Major wants to go back to Mr. Morgan... Major, do you want to go back?
I guess that settles it.
I say, you are sporting about it, you two.
No, I'm not. I think I'm going to cry.
Oh, I say.
No, it's all right. Let her go. She'll get over it. You've got a pretty swell pup there, Mr. Morgan. It's a pleasure to have known him, even for a short time. Sort of makes a man realize what he's missing.
If you don't mind my saying so, Mr. Norton, watching you and Mrs. Norton just now, well, it sort of makes me realize what I've been missing, too. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye, Mr. Morgan. So long, Major.
David?
Yes, dear, I'm coming.
Is Major gone?
Yes, he's gone. Poor chap.
Why, poor chap. He wanted to go in spite of old Hamburger.
I wasn't talking about Major, Claudia. I was talking about Mr. Morgan.
He has his dog back.
But he hasn't got you.
Oh, David. Do you love me as much as that?
As much as that and 1,000,000 times more.
Isn't it funny? Major stayed just long enough to cement our marriage.
And break a lamp, eat a goldfish, and a few other things.
The place does seem awfully big and empty without him, doesn't it?
Never mind, darling. It'll get small again in the morning when I start to shave.
All story material used in this broadcast of Claudia was under the supervision of Rose Franken and William Brown Maloney. There's a pretty new sight in the stores these days. We're talking about the cases of Coca-Cola that you see once more in stores all around town. You see, there's more Coke available now. So make a mental note to have your service station attendant put a case of Coca-Cola in your car the next time you stop for gas. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now, this is Joe King saying au revoir, and remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For ice-cold Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series X-1. now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, At the Post by H.L. Gold. But first, hear this.
In centuries past, this was the sound that used to get the news around. Yes, in centuries past, the people on one side of the hill beat the drum to share the news of the world with the people on the other side of the hill. And since the world in those days was a smaller, more easygoing world, this was enough to get the news around. Ours is a chaotic age with critical events flashing across the face of the earth. Fortunately for us, we can keep up with these events because we have at our fingertips the fastest means of communication ever devised. We have radio. And NBC Radio, with news on the hour, keeps you alerted to world events wherever they happen, as soon as they happen. From ages primitive to present, people have wanted to keep up with events. And in our day and age, this is the sound that really gets the news around. This is Leon Pearson inviting you to keep up with the news on the hour all day, every day, over most of these NBC stations.
Now, X minus 1 and our story, At the Post.
When I come into the Blue Ribbon on 49th Street west of Broadway, I could tell right away nobody told Doc Hawkins about my misfortune. Doc, who ain't one really, writes a daily medical column for the racing form, and we're celebrating his being sprung from the alcoholic ward. He got one look at me, and he choked on a piece of gefilte fish.
What happened? What happened? Look at that. Clucker's become a character.
Lay off, Doc.
A gray flannel suit, a black tie. Clucker, where is your purple and green checked sports jacket? Where are your two-tone suede shoes? You've become a character.
No, it was Zelda's idea. She wanted to make a gentleman out of me.
Wanted to? Why, you two kids got married just before they took my snakes away. Don't tell me you... Already?
You don't know, Doc?
No. What happened?
Well, it was right after you tried to take the warts off the fire hydrant that Zelda started hearing voices. It got real bad.
How bad?
She's at Glendale Center upstate. I just came back from visiting her.
Did the psychiatrist give you a diagnosis?
I got it memorized. Catatonia dementia precox.
Oh, that's rough. Very rough. The outlook is never good in such cases.
Maybe they can't help her, but I will.
Now, Clocker, you're a race handicapper. You run the best tip sheet on Broadway, but people are not horses.
Those coach artists don't know what's wrong with Zelda. I do.
You do?
Sure I do. Look at these charts. Look, here. I use the same system I used to dope the races. Look, Zelda's got catatonia. She used to be a hoofer before we got married, and now she does time steps all day.
Stereotype movements are typical of catatonia.
You don't get it. She does time steps. The first thing you learn in hoofing, over and over, 10 or 15 hours a day. And she keeps talking like she's giving lessons to some jerk kid who can't get it straight. These catatonics work harder and longer at what they're doing than they ever did when they were regular citizens. And they don't get a red cent for it.
I beg your pardon?
I say they're getting stiffed. Anybody who works that hard ought to get paid.
I don't understand what you're getting at.
What are they knocking themselves out for if it's for free? You know what it is all these people got in common? Not their age, not their job, not their, you should pardon the expression, sex. They're teaching.
Teaching, Clocker? Who?
I don't know. I'm working on that now. Doc, I tell you, I miss that mouse. I gotta save her.
Clocker, it's too much for you.
Yeah, who was it said Warlock could turn into a dog in his third year? Who was it had 7 winners the opening day at Belmont? You take my word for it, Doc. I'll beat the schizophrenia handicap. She can't see or hear us, but she can sure see or hear something, and I'm gonna dope it. I had an idea now. I had it doped that Zelda was showing somebody how to dance, whoever they are. And the only way I could spring her was to find out who was controlling her and what they were after. The first step was to get them interested in me and what I know about racing, doping horses. So next time I went to see her, I sat beside her and I started to talk. Now, the first thing you gotta figure is bloodlines. You take a horse, you gotta know back maybe 4 or 5 generations on both sides. Then you gotta know where the colt was foaled, what time of year, because all horses are 1 year old on the 1st of January. Then there's confirmation, training. You take a horse with good bloodlines, break him in the spring on a hard surface training track, and the first thing you know, you got a horse with a shin splint. And they may cover it up, but if you know it's there.
Mr. Locke,
I once knew a horse ran in Hialeah who was scared of flamingos.
Hey, what are you doing?
Had a fine record at Gulfstream and Bowie, but when he got down to Hialeah and got one look at the flamingos, he wouldn't run for beans.
Mr. Locke, are you all right?
Shut up, I'm busy.
You're listening to At the Post, tonight's attraction on X-1. The new War Orphans Education Program. What is it? What does it do? Well, here's the answer straight from the Veterans Administration. It's a training program for young men and women, sons and daughters of war veterans who died from service-connected causes. By war veterans, we mean veterans of World War I, World War II, or the Korean conflict. To qualify for this training, young men or young women must be generally between the ages of 18 and 23. The program offers up to 36 months of schooling, which is the equivalent of 4 college years' training, with the VA paying an allowance of $110 for each month in school. The place to apply for war orphan schooling is your nearest VA office. If you are eligible and you're planning to go to school this fall, the time to apply is now. It takes time to arrange for your school. It takes time for VA vocational counseling. So don't wait for the last minute. Remember, your nearest VA office is the place to apply. Now back to X-1 and At the Post.
I kept coming back every day. I'd just sit there next to Zelda while she did a time step, and I'd talk about horses, over and over. And finally, I started to hear voices.
Clocker, Clocker, this way, Clocker. Come this way, Clocker.
Like it was a fog, I could see the attendant in his white coat asking me questions, and I couldn't hear him. I knew I just kept on talking about the horses. And then suddenly I wasn't there. I was somewhere else. I was in a big square, and the buildings looked like the new Roosevelt Raceway, all modern. Or maybe like the World's Fair. There were trees and statues, and there were hundreds of people standing around, and they all looked scared. There was a little man with bifocals and a vest with pins and needles in it standing next to me. He looked scared, but I knew it had worked. I was on my way to Zelda.
How did I get here? Excuse me, mister, how did I get here?
I don't know.
Am I dead?
I don't think so. Suddenly the crowd all grew quiet when a man climbed on a big platform in front. He was very tall and dignified, and he had formal clothes and a white beard like the chief mourner at a politician's funeral.
Ladies and gentlemen, please feel at ease. You are not in any danger. No harm will come to you. If you will listen carefully to this orientation lecture, you will know where you are and why.
What is it? I don't understand.
Friends,
it's a pitch.
You have been chosen, yes, carefully screened and selected to help us in undoubtedly the greatest cause of all history, a vast and noble experiment.
Smells like a con.
Let me state this in its simplest terms. You know that there are billions of stars in the universe, and that the stars have planets. In almost all instances, the dominant form of life on these planets is quite different from yours. I am not of your planet or solar system. I am not actually formed as you see me. my true appearance would seem to be rather confusing to human eyes.
Nuts, get to the point.
The truth is, we are not here, and neither are you. Here is a projection of thought, a hypothetical point in space, a place that exists only by mental force.
What is he saying? What does he mean?
Our civilization is considerably older than yours. For many of your centuries, we tried to establish communication with you, but there were grave difficulties. I'm sorry to report that those people with whom we did make contact were generally burned at the stake.
Here it comes. He's getting ready to slip us the sting.
You know the history of your own race. It is a record of incessant war, each more devastating than the last. Now, finally, man has changed the power of worldwide destruction. The next war, or the one after that, will unquestionably be the end not only of civilization, but of humanity, perhaps even of your entire planet. Then why have we brought you here? Because man, in spite of his suicidal blunders, is a magnificent race. He must not vanish without leaving a complete record of his achievements. This is the task on which we must work together. Every area of human society must be covered. We need you urgently. Your data will become part of an imperishable social document that shall exist untold eons after mankind has vanished.
Oh, he had a slick con. He had that crowd in the palm of his hand like a small-time grifter selling pearl necklaces on 6th Avenue. They all cheered. After a while, they broke us up into divisions, and I got herded into a building marked Sports and Rackets. I started telling them about horse racing, but they held me down to one sentence. They said I had to repeat it over and over so that recording thing could get it. Apparently, it only absorbed things slow.
Well, that's enough for today. Isn't it amazing? We have a more detailed record of human society than man himself ever had. Your life, my life, the life of this Zelda, whom you came here to rescue, all are unimportant, for we must die eventually. But the project will last eternally.
You're telling me you know what I'm here for?
To secure the return of your wife. I would naturally be aware that you had submitted yourself to our control voluntarily. It was in your file that was sent to me by admissions.
And why did you let me in?
Because, my dear friend, we know...
Leave out the friend pitch. I'm here on business.
As you wish. We let you in, as you express it, because you have knowledge that we should include in our archives. We hoped you'd recognize the merit and scope of our undertaking. Most people do, once they're told.
Zelda, too?
Oh, yes, Zelda is extremely cooperative, quite convinced. Would you like to see her?
Yeah, sure I would.
Well, that can be arranged. I'll call the Arts and Entertainment section and arrange a meeting.
Zelda, baby.
Clocker.
Let's get out of here.
Oh, hello, Clocker.
Aren't you glad to see me? I spent months and shot every dime I got just to find you.
Oh, sure, I'm glad to see you. But I can't waste any time. This work is so important. Isn't it wonderful?
What's so wonderful about it?
If they could let the earth go boom, it wouldn't mean a thing to them. Everybody wiped out, just like there were never any people. Not even as much record of us as the dinosaurs. Wouldn't that make you feel simply awful?
I wouldn't feel a thing. All I'm worried about is us, baby. Who cares about the rest of the world doing a disappearing act?
I do, and so do they. They aren't selfish like some people I could mention.
Selfish? You're darn right I am. Zelda, listen. I'm selfish because I got a wife and I'm nuts about her and I want her back.
Listen, I have to help out on this project, hon. It's the least I can do for history.
History? What did history ever do for us? Go turn in your time card, baby. Tell them you got a date with me back on Earth.
No, this is my job just as much as theirs, more even. They don't keep anybody here against their will. I'm staying because I want to, Clocker.
Zelda, you're being kind.
Excuse me, Clocker, I gotta get back. I'm teaching him the soft shoe now.
Are you satisfied now, Mr. Locke?
Listen, what's in this for you?
We're devoting our skill to recording a race that is about to destroy itself. That's enough game.
There, that's the hook. Take away the doom push and this racket falls. Listen, what makes you so sure we're going to commit suicide?
Is there any doubt of it? Do you honestly believe the Holocaust can be averted?
I think it can be stopped, yeah. Listen, between these catatonics and me, we could tell them what it's all about. I notice you got people from all over the world here. They're getting along fine because they have a job to do and don't have time to hate each other. Well, it could be like that back on Earth.
Mr. Locke, we have already experimented in the manner you suggest. A human psychological mechanism defeated us.
Yeah? What was that?
Protective amnesia. They completely and absolutely forgot everything they'd learned here.
Well, what are the odds on me remembering?
Well, you're our first volunteer.
Look, I'll give you a deal. You let me out and maybe I'll be the first case that didn't get amnesia. And I can tell the world about all this. I'll come back if I lame out. You can pick me up any time you want. But if I make headway, you got to let Zelda go, too.
Well, that's a reasonable proposition. We'll lift our control, Mr. Locke, for a suitable time. If you can arouse a measurable opposition to racial suicide, measurable, mind you, we agree to release your wife and revise our policy completely.
I came to at Glendale. Took me about 2 weeks to convince them I was all right again. And finally they let me loose. I had to convince the world that they were throwing the race and that they needed the saliva test. So I started to write it all out in my tip sheet, in and around the horses. Around that time, I ran into Doc.
Clarker, my boy, you've no idea how anxious we were about you, but you're looking fit, I'm glad to say.
Thanks. Wish I could say the same about you and the rest of the world.
Well, there's no need to worry about us. We'll muddle along somehow.
You'd think so, huh?
Well, I'm glad to see you running your tip sheet again. As long as the bobtails run, who cares what happens to anything else?
Of course, nobody'd listen to me. I had posters printed telling everybody. I made speeches in Columbus Circle. I told everybody Doomsday was near. Nobody paid any attention. I sneaked into the balcony of the General Assembly, tried to shout a speech, and they threw me out, very politely. I wrote the whole thing up for a magazine, and they printed it and sent me a check. Told me if I had any more fiction, they'd be glad to run it. I kept trying to tell everybody the truth about the catatonics. We ought to go to the hospitals and get ourselves let in and have the aliens take over and show us where we're going. Nobody'd listen. And finally, I went back out to Glendale.
Oh, Mr. Locke, we were wondering when you'd come to visit your wife. Been away?
I want my old room back.
Oh, but you're perfectly normal.
Give me half an hour alone, and you'll be glad to give me my room.
Ah, Mr. Locke, back again, I see.
I'm no dummy. I know when I'm licked.
So do we, Mr. Locke. Naturally, you have no way of detecting the effect you've had. We do. The result is that because of your experiment, we're gladly revising our policy.
Huh? Is this a rib? Nobody listened to me.
Oh, but they did. Visits to catatonics have increased considerably. When the visitors are alone with our human associates, they tentatively follow the directions you gave them in your article. Not all do, to be sure. Only those who feel as strongly about being with their loved ones as you do about your wife. We've accepted 4 voluntary applicants.
You mean I made it?
That's right. Before long, we will be able to release the first group to go back and carry the message. Whenever you care to, Mr. Locke, you and your wife are free to leave.
Okay. Okay, but I'll tell you what. I owe you plenty. I'll help make that record before I go. I'll teach you how to dope the horses. Is that what you want?
Why, yes.
All right, then let's go. The quicker we get started, the quicker we can get back.
Fred Collins again, and I'll be back with a word about X-1 in a moment.
Nighttime. The lights dim down for the curtain in theaters on Broadway. A Hollywood star greets the first guests at her party in Beverly Hills. In Chicago, the police plan to close the ring on a band of desperate criminals. At a world-famous circus in Paris, France, the star trapeze artist climbs to a precarious perch high over the center ring. In a Las Vegas nightclub, a hush falls over the tables as one of the great singing stars of our time steps out onto the stage. And in New York's Radio City, the studio warning light flashes, "Stand by." Nightline is about to go on the air, taking you to wherever in the country, wherever in the world, exciting things are happening at night, to make you more than a spectator, to make you a participant in these events. This is Walter O'Keefe, inviting you to join us on Nightline, your line to exciting entertainment at night, every
Monday through Thursday night over most of these NBC stations.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features The Dark Star by William Tenn. For everyone else, it was the anniversary of the first moon flight. For one man, it was just a tragically comic Valentine. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you At the Post, written by H.L. Gold and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Frank Maxwell as Clocker, Maxine Stewart as his wife Zelda, and she really is his wife, too, House Jameson as the otherworldly Calhoun, John Griggs as the hospital attendant, and Sam Raskin as the confused little tailor. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Kenneth McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
This is Nightline, your tie line to the world, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Tonight, a visit to worlds strangely different from ours, the world of the future, the world of X-1. Now, here is the future, X-1.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, the Clifford D. Simak story, Drop Dead. But first, hear this.
Have you ever asked yourself what this country's most important natural resource is? I'm Dorothy Olson, NBC Bandstand singing schoolteacher. Our most important resource? Well, you might consider it our mineral deposits, or our tremendous sources of water power, or maybe our great forests. Well, these are all very important natural resources, but there's one resource that's more important than all these combined. Our children. Don't neglect them or their educational facilities. Poor schools breed inadequate citizens for tomorrow. And another thing, keep your youngsters in tip-top shape so that they won't miss important school days. Dress them against the weather so they won't catch needless winter colds. Check their wardrobe as they go back to school this fall to be sure that they have plenty of the right kind of clothing. Remember, our children are this nation's most important natural resource. It's your job to protect their future as they go back to school this fall.
1, and the story of an unbelievable planet. Listen to Drop Dead.
Exactly 1 hour and 20 minutes after we sent the survey ship out on its tail, the critters showed up. Ordinarily, when you make a landing on an unknown planet, it takes at least a week for any life to come creeping out of hiding and sneak a look. But there they were, the critters. They were almost cow-sized, but not as graceful as a cow. Their bodies were put together as if every blessed one of them had run full tilt into a wall. Their hides were splashed with large squares of pastel colors, the kind of color one never finds on any self-respecting animal. Violet, pink, orange, chartreuse. The overall effect was in a checkerboard, made by an old lady who did crazy quilts. Max Weber, our biologist, stood at the tail fin with me and stared.
Look at that on their heads. Those antlers.
Those are not antlers, my friend.
Well, I was afraid to say it. It looks like vegetation. As if they were trying to hide behind a skimpy thicket.
What bothers me is the fruit and vegetables. That is, fruit and vegetables growing on their heads.
Hey, watch it. One of them's broken away from the herd and coming over this way.
Step back. Give me a clear shot in case it charges.
Look, here it comes.
What? How do you like that? It just dropped.
Ted, that animal just walked up to us and dropped dead.
We left the critter lying where it fell and started to set up camp. Carl Parsons, our ecologist, had the stove together and the supper started before the last tent peg was driven. I dug out my diet kit and mixed up my formula, and all of them kidded me about it the way they always did. It didn't bother me. Their kidding was automatic, and I had automatic answers. I know ulcers must sound silly and archaic. You ask any medic, he'll tell you they don't happen anymore. But I have a riddle stomach and a special diet kit to prove that they sometimes do. After supper, Carl Parsons, the ecologist, Max, and I dragged the critter in and had a good look at it.
Hey, look at this, Ed. This animal's got different colored blocks on it, just like a checkerboard. Look at this one.
Holes.
Yeah. Just like one of those peg sets a kid uses toys. Here, look what I found out of that. I'll poke it with my knife. There.
Looks like a bee.
Well, it is. On top of being a tomato bush and a grapevine, this critter is a walking beehive.
Why couldn't they be something simple?
Yeah, it never is.
You know, this is a screwy place.
The critters?
No, not the critters, the planet itself. Never saw one like it. It's positively naked. No trees, no flowers, nothing. Almost as if someone had said, let's make a simple planet. Let's cut out all the frills. Let's skip all the biological experiments and just work on the basics. One form of life and the grass for it to eat.
We unshipped the experimental animals, the rats, the zartils from Centauri, and the pumpkins from Polaris. The pumpkins made an unholy racket because pumpkins are always hungry. You just can't give them enough to eat. You turn them loose and they eat themselves to death. We got them all unshipped and set up under a shed in rows when Max walked up to me thoughtfully, chewing on a toothpick the way he always did.
Ed, there's something wrong.
Yeah, what do you mean?
There are no insects here. I wandered around, laid down in a dozen different places. Stands to reason a man should find some insects if he looked all morning. It is natural.
What about the bees?
What bees?
Well, the ones that were in the critter. Didn't you see any?
No, I didn't get close to any critter herds.
Birds?
Not a one. Oh, I was wrong about the flowers. The grass is tiny flowers.
For the bees to work on.
Very neat, isn't it?
I'm not so sure.
American tradition. now back to X-1 and the Clifford Simac story, Drop Dead.
The bio team had the critter spread out on a canvas tarp. They were happily chopping him up in small pieces with a scalpel.
Ed, I've got news for you. No brain.
What?
No brain. We can't find one, and there's no nervous system.
That's impossible. How can a highly organized, complex animal exist without a brain or nervous system?
He's got everything else. As near as we can figure it out, there are at least a dozen different kinds of flesh. Some fish, some fowl, some good red meat, maybe even a little lizard.
Well, an all-purpose animal. We found something finally.
If it's edible, and if it doesn't poison you, if it doesn't grow hair all over you.
Well, that's up to you fellas. I'll get the cages down, and you can start killing off the little animals to your heart's content.
And there's only one insect, these bees. And we never see these unless we're near a critter herd. And no birds, no fish in the water. Not even a single-cell paramecium.
Yeah, I was talking it over with Max.
You know, I'd give my right arm to hear a cricket or a mosquito or even a hornet.
This is the strangest thing we've... Hey, Max, what are you chewing?
Toothpick.
That's no toothpick. Spit it out, spit it out. That's grass.
I don't know. I must have just picked it automatically to chew on. It's just a habit, I guess.
Yeah. Well, go on with the report.
Well, it's a walking filet mignon. That animal is an all-purpose for sure. It lays eggs, gives milk, and has 6 different kinds of red meat. Makes honey, 2 kinds of fowl, 1 of fish, and a whole lot of others we can't identify.
Then, of course, the bacteria.
And what about the bacteria?
The critters swarm with them. And all of them the same. You know, it normally takes 100 different kinds of bacteria to make the metabolism work. But here there's only one. It must do all the work of the 100 other species do. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the brains and the nervous system you couldn't find with your knife. The bacteria doubling in brass for both systems.
The whole place balances. Nature's never static, never standing still. But here on this planet, it's standing still. Where's the competition? Where's the evolution? It's as if long ago all these life forms said, let's quit this feuding, let's get together, let's cooperate. Symbiosis.
Well, we need another critter to work on.
I'll bet you we get it.
Luckily, Max didn't take Carl's bet. Right after breakfast, the critter came in and died with a savoir-faire that was positively marvelous. We unloaded all our supplies and got ready for a long stay. We were feeding all the experimental animals on a critter now. The carnivorous ones ate the critter meat, and the vegetarians chomped on critter fruit and critter vegetables. They all grew sleek and sassy. We were sitting around after supper one night when suddenly we heard something.
Hey!
What is it?
Listen!
Thunder.
Listen.
I think... All right, quick. Everybody up into the ship.
What is it?
A herd of critters. Look, you see the dust? They're coming this way in a stampede. We swarmed up the ladder and tumbled into the port. Below us, the stampeding critters went grinding through camp. There seemed to be millions of them. They came pouring past for almost an hour. When it was all done, we came down and surveyed the damage.
Well, the animals are safe. They were under the tail fins.
Everything else is gone. Tents carried away.
Food supply is gone.
How about the emergency rations in the ship?
I had to move them down to the supply tent so they'd be handy. They're gone, dashed into the mud.
Well, even if we lifted ship immediately, it's at least 7 weeks to the nearest contact point. And no rations.
Well, gentlemen, I suggest you try on your bibs. There'll be steak for dinner.
Steak?
That's right. Steak or fowl or fish or honey, whichever you like.
You mean eat critter?
You got any other ideas?
Well, for one time. Ed, I wish I had your ulcers. You've got your diet kit in your pack, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's get a good fire going and throw on a chunk of critter.
The crew ate about a critter a day. They didn't seem to mind. Just at breakfast time, one would walk in and keel over. The crew ate like there was no tomorrow. I waited for them to break out in a rash or start turning green with purple spots or grow scales or something. But nothing happened. They felt better than they ever had. But then one morning, Max Weber turned up sick.
Well, gentlemen, I've just taken a sample of my own blood.
How do you feel?
Lousy. I'm loaded with bacteria. Critter bacteria. I've checked some of the others. They've got a lower count than I have.
Well, that figures. You got a head start.
No.
The rest of them have just been eating critter for a week. Hey, remember the day you ran out of toothpicks and took to chewing on a grass stem?
Yeah. Well, we can't stop eating critter. It's all the food we have.
Well, we might stop eating critter now. And there's my diet kit. We might make it home.
Your diet kit wouldn't last us 3 days.
I took a blood sample on the test animals. They've got a bacteria count almost as high as mine.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. We still have to eat critter. We haven't got any choice.
That night, Weber disappeared. We hunted him for 3 days. He couldn't have gone very far, but we didn't find him. We did find one queer thing, though.
Hey, over here! Down in the gully!
Ed, what is it?
That white fungus, kind of a ball. It wasn't here last week.
We couldn't find Weber. And then about 4 days later, Carl woke me up.
Ed, get up. Get up.
What's the matter?
The animals, the test animals. They're encysting. They're turning into cocoons or chrysalis or something.
What?
All of the test animals, the guinea pigs, the dogs, they're turning into white fungus balls.
Carl, the ball we found out in the field.
Weber. Max Weber. It's got to be.
We had some trouble finding the place because the land was so flat and featureless. We finally located it just as dusk was setting in.
It's split.
It looks like an egg after a chicken's been hatched. Carl?
Well, what do you think? Look inside. There are 2 halves of that cocoon. Look at the marks. You can see what it is now. Ed, you're the only one who had the chance. I think you should leave right now. Get back to the center and tell them. You've got your diet kit. You can make it. No wonder there are just the critters here. Take 1 drink of water. Chew a single grass stem. Take 1 bite of critter. Do any one of those things and you turn into one of them. Listen, Ed. You take your diet kit and notes and get out of here.
But I can't run out on you.
Forget us. We're not human anymore. You must not stay. If you do, in a day or 2, a critter will come in and drop dead for you. And you'll go crazy all the way back home, wondering which one of us it was.
I walked slowly over to the ship, and I stood at the foot of the ladder, holding the notes and the diet kit against my chest. I thought of all the things we'd been through together. The crew, how they'd always kidded me about the diet kit. I thought of almost 10 years eating that awful goo, and that I could never eat like a normal human because of my ulcerated stomach. Maybe they were the lucky ones, I told myself. If a man got turned into a critter, he'd probably come out with a whole stomach and never worry about how much or what he ate. The critters never ate anything except the grass. But maybe, I thought, that grass tasted just as good to them as steak or a pumpkin pie would taste to me. So I stood there for a while and I thought about it.
Ed, what are you doing back here?
Carl, I just took that diet kit and threw it out into the waste disposal unit.
What are you talking about?
My friend, I am very hungry. What have you got for supper?
Fred Collins speaking. And I'll have another word for you about X-1 in a moment.
Hi, this is Walter O'Keefe. You know, they say there's nothing new under the sun, and maybe that's true. But there is something new under the moon, and that's Nightline. In Nightline, we think we found the way to use the intimacy as well as the lightning-fast maneuverability of radio in an hour-and-a-half package of high-voltage, different entertainment. We found the way to make the airwaves your magic carpet to wherever big things are happening. Anywhere in the country, for that matter, anywhere in the world. Now, let's say that your favorite comedian is performing at a Las Vegas nightclub. He's packing them in, and you've really got to have connections to get a table. Well, Nightline is that connection, and your radio is your ringside table. More things than you'd believe are happening in the so-called still of the night, and Nightline is your line to exciting entertainment after dark. My feeling is Nightline marks a new era in nighttime entertainment. Tune us in every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and you'll hear what I mean.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Double Indemnity by Robert Sheckley. To commit the perfect crime, all Barthold needed was centuries in which to plan it and execute it, and an insurance policy with Double Indemnity. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Drop Dead, a story written by Clifford D. Simak and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Lawson Zerbe as Ed, Ralph Camargo as Max Weber, and Joseph Bell as Carl Parsons. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
You'll be on the right line to exciting entertainment when you hear Nightline tonight over most of these NBC stations.
The magic island of Euclidia may be a grand place for G47 and his scientists, but the Gregory Yacht Party are not enjoying it much. When Mrs. Patricia Gregory with Captain Tex Bradford and young Jerry Hall sailed from Los Angeles in search of Joan Gregory, Mrs. Gregory's long-lost daughter, they had many thrilling adventures and once made their escape from the scientists on Euclidia. Their freedom lasted only a few hours, however, and once again they are prisoners, held in the 9th level of the artificial island. Jerry and Joan have gone on a tour of that level, looking for some means of escape, and Patricia and Tex have followed them. Now, both searching parties are apparently hopelessly lost. As the last time we saw them, Jerry and Joan were locked in one steel room, and the captain and Mrs. Gregory in another, where we find them now.
Oh, it's no use, Tex. We're locked in this room to stay.
Sure looks like it, Pat, but why?
Well, we're prisoners, of course.
Yes, but why should this one room close up automatically as soon as we get in it?
I'm not convinced Joan was right about the scientists all giving their attention to something else. I think we've been watched all the time, and this room is a handy place to keep us until G47 is ready to do what he sees fit to do with us.
You may be right. One thing is sure. There's no sense in wearing out our hands trying to push these steel doors open.
Look, Tex, how beautifully polished this steel is. These doors are perfect mirrors.
Mirrors? Uh-huh, that's it.
What's what?
These panels are mirrors. Mirrors are polysteel.
Yes, but
Well,
what?
don't you see, Pat? They're not doors at all.
Not doors?
No.
But they must be. They all look exactly alike.
Yeah, they look alike, but they aren't. Don't you see it? They really are mirrors. And with the exception of one panel, which is actually a door, the rest of them are only reflections.
Then we've been pounding on sections of the wall?
Sure we have. We got excited and lost our heads for a minute. Now all we have to do is to go slow. Try each of these doors, or rather panels, until we find the one that's a real door, and we can open it just as easy as we did when we came in.
It's worth trying, at least.
Yes, and we'll take no chances on getting mixed up this time. I've got a heavy black pencil here. We'll make a mark on each panel we try, and we won't be doing all that over again.
All right, well, we'll start with this one. No, it isn't here. I'm sure of that.
Okay, then I'll make a big cross on it, and we'll know what... That's funny.
Have you anything to sharpen the pencil with?
Well, it's sharp enough.
But it didn't leave any mark on the door, Tex.
Watch it now while I try it again.
Tex, did you see that?
Yes, it did make a mark. But within a fraction of a second, almost instantly, the mark faded out.
I don't like this. Everything we come in contact with smacks of the supernatural.
Well, it is a little nerve-wracking, but there's nothing supernatural about it.
Well, that pencil mark disappearing so quickly certainly is...
Some sort of paint they've treated these doors with, I think. Nothing to be afraid of. But it sure wrecks my idea about marking the panels.
Then what are we to do?
Well, let's see. Supposing we stand still and count all the panels in the room. Then count them as we go around. That should do it.
What was that, Tex?
Sounded like something heavy struck the roof of this room.
There it is again.
As if a large magnet. Pat, do you feel this room moving?
Yes, Tex. It's rising, isn't it?
I'll say it's rising. This thing acts like an elevator.
It must be an elevator. Jerry and Joan described the sound of those giant magnets when they rode in one of these elevators.
That must be another level we've just passed. The 8th, if Joan was right about ourselves being on the 9th.
But this can't be a regular elevator.
Sure acts like one to me.
But the size of it, Tex, as large as the living room in my home.
I don't seem to care how big anything is around this island. If they want it moved, it moves.
That must have been the 7th floor.
Well, I'm glad we're going up. I'll feel better when we're near the surface of this island.
It isn't very pleasant being locked up 90 feet below the surface of the ocean. But what if we're leaving Jerry and Joan down there?
No use worrying about that now, Pat. We can't control this. We may be getting into a position to help them as well as ourselves.
Yes, and that was the 6th level. And these levels are 10 feet in height. We're moving much slower than in an ordinary elevator.
And this steel room must weigh as much as a half a dozen ordinary elevators.
Of course. I wonder what we'll find at the surface.
Probably a reception by someone who doesn't like us very well.
And Jerry and Joan?
We'll have to wait and see.
That was the 5th floor.
You mean this is the 5th floor? We're still here.
Why, so we are. We've stopped moving.
This must be as far as we're going. Look, Pat, that door is opening.
Then we did try the right one.
Opens easy enough when you know how.
But who's opening it, Tex?
No one. That whole ride of ours was automatically controlled, I believe. Something tells me we ought to get out of this elevator while we have a chance. Might decide to go down again.
Very well, Tex, if you think it's wise.
I think it's just as wise to get out here as it is to allow ourselves to be taken down to that 9th floor again.
We didn't get out any too soon.
Looks that way.
It sounded as if it went up.
We might have stayed on it and reached the top of the island.
I think we'll have a great deal more opportunity to look around here unmolested than we would have on the surface.
No doubt of that. Let's start looking. Same thing here we had down below. Halls and halls full of shining steel doors. We don't know where any of them go.
Joan said all elevator doors open toward the outer rim of the island. And if that's the case, we should be working toward the outside by going straight ahead.
Right. We'll begin with this door in front of us. Well, we got that far anyway. What now?
Well, I'd say straight ahead again, Tex.
You're guessing all right so far. Come on, let's go.
Well, that's a queer-looking thing, Tex. Do you know what it is?
I think it's the nose of one of the Euclidean submarines. Yep, that's what it is. We're in one of the submarine locks. That's the opening in the nose of the sub.
Well, there doesn't seem to be anyone around. Would it be safe to look into the submarine?
Why not? They might as well find us looking at that as at anything else on this island.
Tex, there's someone in that submarine.
Are you sure?
Yes, way back in the stern. I can see a shadow moving around.
Can you see how many people there are?
No. Why?
I have one of the ray guns Joan got for us. I'd be tempted to argue with him if there weren't too many in there.
It might work. Joan said the Euclideans never put more than 2 people on those subs under ordinary conditions.
Mrs. Gregory, Captain Bradford.
Pat, I thought I heard Jerry.
Yes, but keep your voice down. If we heard him, those people in the submarine must have heard him, too.
Mother, Captain, come in here quietly without speaking further.
Well, that was Joan.
Quiet, Pat, and do as she said. I'll give you a hand. We'll have to climb up into the nose of that sub. Come on, easy now.
I'll make it all right, Tex. Oh, Joan, dear, what on earth is
Quiet,
that?
Mother. Get back into the central portion of the ship at once.
What do I do, Joan?
Same as Mother. Hurry and quietly. Come here, Jerry. Quietly now.
Sure, I know.
Help me close this port. Gently.
Gently, it is.
Now lock that breech.
Gotcha.
And now we can hurry back to Mother and the Captain in the central section.
Better be quiet about it.
There is no need for silence now. I have cut off all possible methods of communicating sound or motion to the island.
I can see that you're confident we may speak with safety now, Joan.
We may indeed, Mother.
Then tell us how you kids managed to get here and into this submarine.
It was not cleverness on our part.
I'll say it wasn't. Oh, boy. We got into a room all full of doors and couldn't get out.
Why, that's just exactly what happened to us, wasn't it, Tex?
And the room then rose to this level.
And we found out we were in an elevator all the time.
That's exactly what we went through.
Yes.
Well, when we found the nose of this thing open already for us and nobody here, we came aboard.
And I had just completed testing the controls, and Jerry was to return to the 9th level in an attempt to bring you up here.
But you got here all by yourselves. So let's get underway.
What do you mean, underway?
Surely, Mother. You and the Captain sit back there where you will not interfere with the controls.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on, Joan. You're not going to try to steal this Euclidean submarine.
She's not going to do anything else but.
Oh, dear. Do you know how to operate it? Are you sure, Joan?
I believe so. I have watched the commander operate the ship many times.
Well, you've sure got your nerve, Joan. But if you'll steal it and think you can run it, we'll ride with you, won't we, Pat?
I should say we will.
Ready, Joan?
One moment, Jerry. That lever will release the mechanism which reverses the nose from that submarine lock. When I signal you, pull the lever well back.
Okay, kid. I'm ready.
Then pull.
Oh, we're not. That's just the outer shell revolver.
But how can we see it?
The submarine is constructed of transparent steel.
Okay, Joan. The nose is clear. Now what?
I will have to perform this alone. To turn around will create too great a disturbance on Euclidia. I must run with reverse jets for a few miles.
Let her go.
Joan, we're going very fast to be running backwards, aren't we?
The speed is identical with the best forward speed. These submarines are reversible. We will soon attain the maximum speed of 48 knots.
48 knots? You mean this thing will make 48 knots an hour underwater?
It sure will. This is the fastest submarine on the island.
And it will operate at a depth of 1 mile, although not at that speed. But if we are pursued, I shall dive for the floor of one of the ocean canyons, and we will never be caught.
Never be caught? Joan, dear, you can't mean we're actually getting away from Euclidia.
To be sure, Mother.
But, June, isn't there some way G47 and the scientists can overtake us or pull us back to the island?
Not a chance, Tex. This is the fastest submarine they've got, and their magnetic stuff won't work on their own boat.
Correct, Jerry. There is, to my knowledge, no possible way for us to be overtaken and returned to Euclidia.
Oh, Joan, it's wonderful. I can just hardly believe this.
Must be true, though, Pat. We're sure leaving that place behind.
And I'm not doing any crying over it. That magic island is all right for the guys who run it, but I've had enough.
I, too, have had enough, Jerry. I will proceed at full speed.
There's nothing any finer than a taste of freedom after being shut up against your will. The Gregory party is now enjoying their second bit of freedom since landing at Euclidia, the magic island. When Jerry and Joan set out to do a little detective work in the lower levels of the island, they were only hoping, and rather faintly hoping at that they might possibly discover some weak link in the Euclideans' plans to keep them prisoners. They had more good luck than anyone expected, and found one of the fast submarines with no one guarding it. Mrs. Gregory and the captain arrived at the same time, and with Joan at the controls, our four friends have helped themselves to the 100-foot submarine. They are now racing to get away from Euclidia and the power of G47 and his scientists.
I believe we have now attained maximum speed. You may close that valve, Jerry.
Okay, Joan. Close it is.
How can you maintain your speed in this thing if you shut off the compressed air, Joan?
The air is not used as motive power, Captain Bradford. It merely forces the fuel pellets into the combustion tank.
But, Joan, darling, what makes this submarine go?
Did you not see that small cylinder Jerry inserted in that heavy projectile-shaped tank?
See here, Mrs. Gregory, one of these little things.
Well, I see them, Jerry, but they're hardly larger than a golf ball.
They are quite large enough to propel this submersible ship for a distance of 25 miles at maximum speed.
But, Joan, 25 miles on one of these little capsules?
Approximately, Captain.
Oh, sure. There's enough of these little things here to take us to Los Angeles.
To Los Angeles?
Precisely, Mother. The first requirement when a submarine commander lands her boat at Euclidia is to refuel, and the minimum charge is for 5,000 miles.
5,000 miles? And we're only about 4,000 from home.
Then you mean... Oh, I can't even seem to say it. You mean we're actually away from that island with enough fuel to take us safely back to California?
I have stated the simple truth.
Well, it may be the truth, Joan, but it isn't so simple. How's our speed now?
We are making only 44 knots. There is some slight defect in the gas combustion apparatus.
Only 44 knots?
Yeah. Too bad we've got to crawl along at 44 miles an hour on the water. I'll bet the Navy would feel bad if their ships wouldn't do any better than this.
There is no Navy in the world with a submarine that will make any such speed, or even half of it, Jerry.
Oh, Johnny was only kidding you, Joan.
44 knots. 44 nautical miles an hour. Why, that's faster than our heavy surface craft can travel.
It is interesting to contemplate the advances which may be made after this system of propulsion has been perfected.
Yeah, maybe they'll do all right after they've quit fooling around and really get these things to running.
Now, Jerry, if you'll let Joan be sensible for a few minutes, I'd like to ask her a few questions about the continued operation of this boat and learn something about how to navigate. This is my first submarine experience.
Okay, Tex. I'll keep still.
What is it you wish to know, Captain?
Well, you started this thing and you're keeping it running. So if you know how to do that, I'll leave it in your hands. But I'd like to be of some help to you. Thought it might be with the navigation.
Tex is one of the finest navigators in America, Joan.
That is interesting, but there is no need for your services at this time, Captain.
Looks like we're just going for the ride.
Sure looks that way, Jerry.
I believe we are now sufficiently removed from Euclidia that we may, with safety, reverse the craft.
Reverse? You mean we've been going backward all this time?
At 44 knots?
To be sure. I explained that when we left the island.
Don't you remember Joan saying that she didn't dare turn the sub around for fear it would make it such a fuss in the water that the Euclideans might get wise?
Yes, I remember. But in the excitement of getting away, I'd forgotten it.
And we've been running full speed astern for the last 10 minutes?
Precisely.
I don't see why we can't feel that, Joan. I can't ride backwards in the train without feeling it.
On the train, you know you are riding backward, do you not?
Well, sure. But why?
I will give you the same sensation here if you desire it.
You'll give us a sensation?
How can you do anything about that, Joan? We've been steadily running backward, and I hadn't noticed it.
I will open the visibility slides in the sides of the submarine.
Hey, don't let that water in.
The water will not come through that transparent steel, and you should know that, Jerry.
Yeah, I did see it before.
How wonderfully clear those openings are. Everything in the water is as plain as day.
Yeah, now you can tell you're going backward all right. Seeing that marine life scooting by in the wrong direction could be mighty upsetting.
I think I'd just as soon go forward, Skipper.
I will now reverse the craft.
What, at this speed?
We will lose momentum gradually. I will cut off the power and run in a wide arc.
How could this thing be so noiseless all at once, Joan? We're still rushing through the water. Why don't we hear the water as we did before?
You did not at any time hear the rush of water around the ship, Captain Bradford. You heard the water passing through the power channels. That steel is not noiseless, as it is much more simple to check your power if you can hear it.
But the rest of this boat is made of noiseless steel.
Yes, Mother.
Boy, You sure see things when you go riding with these Euclideans.
I am no longer a Euclidean, Jerry.
Good for you, Joan.
Then you'd better remember that when we start to tell you how dumb they are in my world.
Joan will soon be of our world, Jerry.
That will make me very happy, Mother. In less than 80 hours, we will arrive in Los Angeles.
Golly whiskers.
I can't think of anything better than that to say, Jerry.
It's almost too much for me.
Hey, you sure take off fast.
We are in a hurry, are we not?
We're in a hurry to get away from Euclidia, yes. But, Joan, is this submarine safe at such speed?
Euclidean machinery is nearly perfect. Speed has no effect on this craft.
Well, it sure has some effect on me. Are we doing full speed already?
The maximum will be attained in a few more seconds, Captain.
One thing nice about these things, they sure make up their minds plenty fast.
Joan, I don't mean to worry you with a lot of childish questions, but I'm interested in navigation. Now, how do you know where we're going?
Just what I'd like to know. These steel slides in the side of the ship are fine, but I can't see where they'd be any help in navigating.
Show them the gadgets, Joan.
Gadget?
Sure, the dingus. Thingamajig you navigate with.
There is nothing like that here, but I will show you how the instruments operate.
Oh, that'll do just as well.
Well, I don't see any instruments, at least not enough to run a submarine with.
We seem to be running all right, though.
Operation of this submarine is very simple. I will pull down the chart of our present course.
Our present course? Do you mean you've had this run charted in advance?
Of course not, Mother. That would be quite impossible as we had no advanced knowledge of the cruise.
Had you there, Pat.
Never mind, Mrs. Gregory. I feel just like you do about it. There's a nice straight line with Los Angeles marked on the north end of it. But how did it get there?
We haven't had any time to draw any pictures since we started.
This is one of our 16 basic or permanent charts, showing a true course from Euclidia to the 16 principal ports of the world.
And our course is a perfectly straight line?
Insofar as navigation is concerned, yes. Although we will naturally deflect to avoid striking any undersea mountains.
Hey, I hope we do.
Yes, but what are you steering this thing with?
It is not necessary to steer, as you term it. I have merely set this lever at the point marked Los Angeles, and in good time we will arrive at that destination.
But it's impossible to sail a straight course for that distance. We must surely run dangerously near islands and sunken reefs.
We will pass around them safely. The impulse deflectors will attend to that.
We'll go around these things like that, automatically?
To be sure.
Joan, you're sailing a submarine at over 40 miles an hour without being able to see where you're going?
I am constantly watching the seaway on our course, and all is clear for several miles in advance of this ship.
Where are you seeing all that?
In this reflector suspended before me. You may look over my shoulder if you wish.
Go ahead, Pat. Take a look.
Oh, I'd like to. Tex, you can see through the water almost as clearly as you could see on the surface.
Golly whiskers. You sure can.
Say, that's remarkable, Joan. How do they do it?
We utilize an electric ray of atomic principle. This ray is projected directly in advance of the submarine. Mineral salts are dissolved along the course of the beam from the ray, and the dissolving salts form a path of remarkable clarity through the water.
Well, that's nothing short of amazing.
And you'd never be bothered by fog.
Euclideans are not, as you say, bothered by fog under any conditions. This is only one of the many rays used under various conditions to control visibility.
Huh. And everybody thought I was crazy when I said we were going to visit a magic island.
There is no magic on Euclidia, Jerry.
Yeah, I know. Old G47 is always raving about everything on that island being nothing but scientific fact, which is all okay with me. But just the same, it's the kind of stuff that they call magic in my country.
I can understand how Jerry feels. When you see our world, Joan, and when you see how far we are behind Euclidia and all of our machines and inventions, you'll be able to understand why this seems like magic to us.
I will try to understand.
Do you realize that when this submarine plows into Los Angeles Harbor, that we'll be the most famous people in the world?
After this small cruise, Euclidean submarines have circled the globe without rising to the surface.
Oh, yeah? How do they carry enough fuel?
We have a great deal of space here that is not being utilized. It is possible to carry fuel for 50,000 miles.
Well, no matter what you think about this cruise, there's going to be a lot of excitement when we dock.
Tex, this boat is armed, isn't it?
My guess would be yes.
You bet, with a capital Y. They've got enough trick weapons on board this thing to capture more than Los Angeles.
Well, isn't that going to present something of a problem when we sail into the harbor? Entering a port with an armed vessel is something that takes a little preparation.
Well, I think we can square that, Pat. After all, the government must have an idea as to what we're up against.
But what can we do if they won't let us into the harbor?
It's not a question of getting into the harbor. We'd be in there before anybody could stop us. What I don't like is the idea that someone will spread the story all over the waterfront. We'll have our hair full of newspaper reporters and newsreel cameras before we can protect our secret.
You will not wish it known that a Euclidean submarine has brought you back to the United States?
Why, Tex?
The Euclidean must have agents in every country. They probably have instruments on the island strong enough to locate this submarine on the surface. They'd pick the news out of a dozen news broadcasts in an hour. I'd like to keep this quiet until I get to the government agents. Take the proper steps to protect ourselves against the Euclideans, as well as to lay our plans about going back to take over that island.
But we'll have to come up somewhere, Tex. And if we don't come up in some harbor, well, we'll never reach land, and I don't see how it can be helped.
Can you offer anything, Joan?
That is a simple problem.
Maybe it is to you, but it looks plenty hard to me to pop up out in the ocean someplace, hide a submarine, and walk into the harbor.
Jerry may be sketching it rather broadly, Joan, but that's what we have to think about.
I will take care of that. When we reach a position within 5 miles of the harbor, we will submerge to the ocean floor. The submarine will remain there indefinitely, safely anchored, and we will proceed to the harbor with our life rings.
Sounds easy, but 5 miles is a long ways to swim. If we could get out of a submarine on the ocean floor and reach the surface alive.
Yeah, it's no sense to try to get from a sub to the surface.
With the equipment I will show you, it will be easy. Please have no fear of that. If we are allowed to reach the harbor, I promise you we will land without the submarine and without trouble.
The Super Delicious Cereal presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights. Valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice, who today finally finds the fantastic city of the Moon Dwellers, deep under the surface of the moon, where he and Jim Olsen encounter a new danger. We'll return to the scene in a moment. But first, let's find out what Dan McCullough's young pal Rusty is so excited about.
Only one more, Dan, just one more.
Hey, calm down, Rusty. One more what?
I only need one more comic button, like the ones we're all collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Then I'll have all 18 in the series.
Well, that's mighty swell. I didn't realize you were so close to rounding out your collection.
Yep, only one more. I've got Winnie Winkle and Orphan Annie and Superman and all the others. All I need is Smokey Stover, and I ought to get that one next week.
Say, Rusty, I just happened to think. You're not going to quit collecting, are you, when you get all 18 buttons?
Gee whiz, no. Think I want to miss out on the fun?
Well, I just wondered.
I've got an idea what I'm going to do. Just as soon as I get that Smokey Stover button, I'm going to pick out my favorite of all of them, probably Superman, and concentrate on getting more of those buttons.
I see. You'll just collect Superman buttons, trade for those with your pals.
Sure.
Well, it's a mighty smart idea, Rusty. Another way to have exciting fun with those pet comic buttons. And believe me, gang, that fun is going to keep right on for a long time. I'll tell you about it in a week or so when I bring you some big news. So get busy on your collection. There's only one way you can get these thrilling comic buttons, you know. You can't buy them anywhere, and you don't have to send in any money, not even a box stop. All you do is to make sure Mom keeps you supplied with plenty of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Inside each package you open, there's a prize exclusively for you. Remember, that's P-E-P, Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman. When Poco, the little man who speaks only in rhyme, disappeared from Professor Twiddle's radar rocket on the moon, Superman led the professor and Jimmy Olsen down a deep shaft to a dark, twisting tunnel far below the surface of the planet. It was Superman's belief that Poco had been spirited away by the Moon Dwellers, the strange, shaggy little creatures who appeared to be half man and half monkey, with long tails and peculiar corkscrew appendages instead of noses, and who lived somewhere in the mysterious depths of the moon. Returning after a brief absence to a cave on a subterranean river where he had left Jimmy and Professor Twiddle, Superman discovered that the professor, too, had suddenly disappeared. As we continue now, in the pitch-black cave, Jimmy is dazed and puzzled.
Well, he was here just a minute ago. I was talking to him. Are you sure he's gone?
He's nowhere in this cave, Jim.
But please, then where is he?
Can't imagine. There's no way out of this cave.
Except what?
The river.
Leaping lizards, maybe he fell in.
I don't think so.
Well, he must have, and he can't swim. Come on, Superman, we've got to go after
Well, I just flew along the river, Jim. I would have seen him if he was in the water.
Oh, my gosh. Then...
Then what?
Those lizards got him when he fell in.
Nonsense. The lizards are harmless except for their horned tails. Matter of fact, I think they purify the water.
Well, then what did happen to him? He couldn't just evaporate. Or could he?
Don't be silly. Of course not.
Well, I don't know. Some awful funny things have been happening around here. First the moon creatures, and then those big birds. The ones Professor Twiddle said disappeared from the earth millions of years
take
ago.
it easy. You're letting yourself get panicky.
Letting myself? I am. First Poco's missing, and then the professor.
Jim.
I got a feeling I'm next.
Nothing's going to happen to you.
You hope.
I know. There's some perfectly natural explanation for Twiddle's disappearance, and we've got to find it, and him.
I don't think we'll ever see him again, or Poco either.
Yes, we will.
Oh, why did I ever let them talk me into coming to the moon? Everything was fine and dandy, and...
Uh-oh. What's this?
What?
Take a look at this. It's lying near the wall.
I can't see anything in this darkness. I can't even see you.
Oh, I forgot. Here, it's a tuft of hair. 2 tufts, rather.
Hair? You mean the professor?
No, it's not human hair. It's coarse and shaggy. Getting any ideas, Jim?
Ideas?
Yes. Didn't you tell me the little moon dwellers had coarse, shaggy hair?
Yeah, sure, but Hey, wait. You think they were in this cave?
Yes. And I think they took Professor Twiddle away with them, just as they must have taken Poco.
Oh, gosh.
In fact, I'm sure of it. There are a couple of holes drilled through the bottom of the wall here. Look as if they've been made by big corkscrews.
Let me feel it.
Here. Got it?
Yeah. That's the kind of hole they make, all right, with their corkscrew noses.
Uh-huh.
They couldn't get Professor Twiddle out through a hole that size.
Well, they must have drilled a larger hole through the wall and hauled him out, and then the meteoric dust sifted down again and blocked it up.
But I would have heard them, or him.
No, not necessarily. You say the racket I made blasting down from the moon's surface sounded like an earthquake. Well, that probably covered it. Come on. We've got to go after them.
Oh, after them where?
Well, the tunnel must be right outside this wall where they drilled the holes. Stand back, Jim. I'll kick an opening through. There we are. And there's the tunnel. Hurry, Jim.
I can't see anything.
Hang on to my cape. Come on.
All right.
Careful now. Watch this turn.
What turn? Black as the ace of spades down here.
I'll steer you around it. To the right this time.
All right.
Tunnel winds like a snake.
You're not kidding.
Come on, Jim. Step on it. They can't have much of a start on us.
Okay, but I don't believe the moon dwellers have the professor, or Poco either. They seem like such friendly little creatures, especially the Poco.
Just the same, I'm sure they have them. I just hope we get there before it's too late.
Get where?
To their headquarters. They must have a settlement or a city down here somewhere. If this tunnel didn't wind so much I could fly. Yes, if it weren't for the lead in the soil, I could see farther than my own nose.
Well, if I hadn't listened to those 2 fruitcakes, Poco and Twiddle, I'd be in Metropolis now with my mother and Mr. Ken and Miss Lane and Mr. White.
Stop a minute.
You see anything?
No, but I heard something. Oh, there it is again. You hear it?
Yeah. Well, what was it?
Sounded like the roar of some large animal.
Animal?
Yes, I can't understand it. Large animals don't live underground, only small ones like gophers and moles.
That's on the Earth. On the moon, anything
Wait,
can happen.
there it is again.
Golly, does sound like a big animal. Let's get out of here.
What, and leave Poco and Professor Twiddle?
I forgot about them. What are we going to do?
Find them, of course. Come on.
Hey, wait. Wait for me.
I thought you had hold of my cape.
I have now. Believe me, I'm not going to let go of it again.
See that you don't.
Gosh, no animal.
Don't get excited. It might not have been an animal.
It wasn't any canary bird, I can tell you that.
We'll find out what it was.
That's what I'm afraid of.
You don't have to be afraid, Jim. You're with me. Oh, hold it.
Now what?
I heard something.
What?
Something brushing against the walls of the tunnel. I think we're being followed.
Think the animal we heard?
No. That came from up ahead of us. At least I think it did. Hard to tell down here, though. So much echo. Oh, if only I could see through this stuff.
I should have stood in bed.
I don't want to take time to go back and check. But I don't want you trailing behind either. Here, I'll tell you what, Jim. I'll carry you. Run up in my arms with you. There we are. Now.
It's easier than walking and bumping into walls.
Take better time, too.
Do you still hear whatever it was behind us?
Not sure, but stop worrying. Nothing's going to happen to you while I'm here.
That's right. I can't see you, so I keep forgetting you're Superman.
Well, remember it and calm down. You're as jumpy as a grasshopper.
Okay. I guess I'm dizzy from hunger. I smell bananas.
No, you don't. You smell some sort of moss flower. It grows on the ceiling of the tunnel.
What a place. Flowers grow on ceilings. They smell like bananas, though. I wonder if they taste like bananas.
Well, we're not going to find out. They might be poisonous.
Okay. Too bad the professor isn't here. He could tell us.
He could also give us the Latin, Greek, and Russian names for them.
He's batty as a bedbug. But he's a nice little guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Poco. Gosh, I hope nothing happened to him. Do you think we'll ever find him?
Well, keep your fingers crossed.
Oh, what's that?
Someone or something screamed.
Yeah, but who or what?
I think it was...
Holy mackerel. There's that animal again.
Yes, and I think it's around the next bend in the tunnel. Okay, hang on tight, Jim. Here's where we find out what this is all about. Carrying Jimmy Olsen in his arms, Superman moves slowly through the narrow, dark tunnel. What will he find around the next bend? We'll return in a moment to learn what happens. But first, here again is your announcer.
You know, gang, it's getting so that any kid who's really on the beam is sporting a collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep that's mighty near complete. There are 18 different buttons in this series, you know, and each one is a real humdinger. Brilliant comic strip colors, red and blue and black, on a gleaming white background. These pictures of your favorite funny sheet characters stand out like anything. And there's so much doggone good excitement in trading duplicates with your friends and comparing notes on how many everybody's collected so far. You won't want to miss a bit of it. So get going on your collection, because I'll have some exciting news for you pretty soon now. Get all 18 of those snappy Pep comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But every time Mom opens a new package of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, there's your exclusive prize. Just ask Mom to get you plenty of P.E.P. Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, made by Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Carrying Jimmy Olsen, Superman turned a bend in the dark tunnel under the surface of the moon, from where the roaring of some great beast seems to come. Now he stops, his eyes widening in amazement. Jim, look!
What? Where?
Down there to the left, at the end of the tunnel. See where it widens into a kind of square? Some light comes in from somewhere. Wait, those small red trees. They give off light.
Jeepers. Who ever heard of trees giving off light?
Well, I never did. Look, there's a deep moat on the other side of the square.
A what?
A moat, a deep water-filled ditch.
Oh.
Beyond it is the Moon Dweller's city. See all those little huts between the small red trees?
Yeah. They look like little Indian wigwams.
And they're made of hard-packed meteoric dust. Can't see into them, but I can see a few of the creatures sticking their heads out of the entrances.
Oh, can you see Poco or Professor Twiddle?
No, I can't, Jim, I can't. And I can't see whatever it was that made all that noise before either. Well, here we go.
Oh, wait, where are you going?
Down to the city, of course, to look for Poco and Twiddle.
You mean you're gonna just walk in there?
Of course. Now, just relax. Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Coming up from the moat. Look.
Great. What are those big hairy things?
The animals we heard roaring before. 2 of them.
Those aren't animals. They... I don't know what they are. Let's get out of here.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. They're twice as big as lions, and they've got long necks and tusks.
Look like prehistoric monsters.
No matter what they look like. Uh-oh, they see us. They're coming for us. Run, Superman, run!
Too late now, Jim. Here, quick, get behind me.
No, run!
Too late, I say.
Golly, what do we do?
Only one thing to do. I'll have to take care of the creatures.
You can't look at them. They're too big.
We'll find out if I can or not in a moment. All right, stand back, Jim. Here they come. Shielding the terrified Jimmy Olsen, Superman braces himself to meet the furious charge of the 2 strange mammoth beasts, shaggy with long necks and wedge-shaped reptilian heads, from which curling, razor-sharp tusks protrude. Fierce creatures from another world, the Moon World, bent now on destroying Superman. Will they conquer, or will he? Tomorrow's episode is packed with thrills and surprises, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, for the adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Hey there, gang, have you heard? Kellogg's Variety is back. That's the grand 10-package assortment of 6 famous Kellogg cereals that makes breakfast so much fun. Why, it's like eating in a restaurant where you can choose from a whole list of your favorite cereals, each one in your own private package. And Mom's sure to be glad Kellogg's Variety is back. Show her how you can eat right out of that swell new Kell Bowl Pack. She'll like not having to wash dishes. So ask her to hurry and get Kellogg's Variety right away. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Super Delicious Cereal presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights, valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice, who today wages a battle to the death with a pair of savage, prehistoric monsters. We'll join him in a moment. But first, here's Dan McCullough with some important news.
Say, talk about big moments, gang. Think how thrilled you're going to be one of these days when you've completed your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Boy, you'll really feel like strutting around when you have all 18 buttons pinned on your jacket or dress or cap for everybody to see. And that won't be the end of your fun either. No, sir, there'll be lots more when I bring you some mighty exciting news. You see, these Pep comic buttons have made a real hit with fellows and girls in the gang, and no wonder why just that Superman button himself would be an exciting prize. He looks so powerful in his bright blue jersey and brilliant red cape, and there's Smiling Jack and Winnie Winkle, 18 different buttons in all, each one a real eye-catcher. You want to be on that fun, too, when your friends are exchanging duplicates. So, hop to it, gang. Better remind Mom to get you some more of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Because that's the only way you can get these exclusive prizes. You don't send in a single penny, not even a box top. And you can't buy them anywhere, but there's a snappy-looking comic button, a prize for you in every package of P.E.P. Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
When first Poco and then Professor Twiddle disappeared on the moon, Superman was convinced they had been spirited away by the moon dwellers. Curious little creatures who appeared to be half human and half monkey. Accompanied by Jimmy Olsen, Superman followed a dark, winding tunnel far beneath the moon's surface and eventually reached the underground city of the moon dwellers, an amazing region of dwarfed red trees which gave off a curious light, beneath which were little wigwam-like huts made of hard-packed meteoric dust. A deep water-filled moat or ditch surrounded the city, and as Superman and Jimmy approached it, two huge, shaggy creatures resembling prehistoric monsters loomed up before them. They were fully 10 feet tall, with long necks and snake-like heads, from which curling razor-sharp tusks protruded. Sighting our friends, the monsters roared and charged. And as we continue now, Superman stands in front of the terrified Jimmy, battling the ferocious creatures of another world. Listen.
All right. You first, big boy. This haymaker ought to slow you down.
Look out there.
Thank you, like him. All right, I'll just pick you up by your horns like this. Up with him, and now to smack him down. I'll have to hold him a while. While I take care of this cat.
Look out, Superman.
Hold it, Jim. All right, you overgrown cow. Let's see if a bit of choking won't take you down.
Look out, he's going to claw you.
Let him claw. Now.
You finished him. Oh, boy, you finished him.
Yes. Here comes the other one back for a second round. Keep out of the way, Jim. You want to run, right? Okay. There, I got you. That's the day, isn't it? I can just get my hands on his leg. There. Twisted into a...
Let him get you down.
I won't. Now.
You're getting him, Superman. You're getting him.
I can just... No, you don't. That's the end of it. Well, that was as tough a fight as I've ever had, Jim. Here, what's the matter with you?
I'm a little weak in the knees.
Oh, relax, it's all over.
I thought it was all over with us.
Oh.
Jeepers. Look how big they are.
Yes.
They must each weigh a ton.
I'd say about 2 tons. Well, now we can... Uh-oh, look, Jim, we're getting company.
More monsters?
Oh, hardly. Look, crossing the moat on that hollowed log. There, he just landed on this side.
Professor Twiddle.
In person.
Oh, you were right. He was with the moon dweller. Hey, Professor. Don't you look now, young man. This is a tremendous occasion, a tremendous occasion. Yeah, I'll say it is. I thought we were dead ducks, but Superman gave these 2 monsters a business. Business? Don't talk to me about business. Not now, young man.
Alternity Cleaners for your satisfaction. 941-4322. Begin 90.
Magnificent. Are you kidding?
Never mind them now, Professor. Tell me, is Poco here?
Poco? What about Poco?
Is he in the Moon Dweller City?
Oh, Poco. Will you just look at them? They have the bodies and tusks of the prehistoric mastodon.
Professor.
But their long necks belong definitely to the Titanotherium and their reptilian heads to the Tyrannosaurus.
Here we go again.
Professor, listen to me. Is Poco here?
Poco? Oh, you mean His Majesty?
No, we don't. We mean Poco.
I know, but I'm much too busy to discuss His Majesty now.
Now, look.
He's lost his mind.
I must make careful notes of these amazing prehistoric creatures. I simply must. This is the most amazing zoological discovery in hundreds of years. Think of it, not one creature, but...
Professor!
And I have discovered them. I,
Will you-
Timothy Twiddle, A.D.M.A., Ph.D., F.R.S.D.
I give up.
Well, there's only one way to handle this. Up over my head with you, Professor.
Bless my beard, what am I doing up here? Set me down. Set me down at once, I say. I must find my notebook.
Not until you answer my question. Is Poco in the Moon Dweller City?
Of course he is.
Where in the city? I can't see through the meteoric dust.
Well, you should have said that before. King Poco.
King
What?
Poco?
Yes, of course. Poco's a king now, you know. But between you and me, he's letting it go to his head.
I told you he was off his nut.
Now, if you'll just let me down and help me look for my notebook...
Never mind the notebook. Under this arm with you. You get under this arm, Jim.
Okay.
That's it.
Set me down. Set me down, I say. I must examine these amazing creatures.
I want you to show me where Poco is. Up and over that moat. Away!
We're flying. Bless my beard.
Ah, there's Poco. Down to that hut. Down!
Oh, I'll be a sardine. Look at Poco with a crown of leaves and flowers on his head.
Well, he seems to have come up in the world.
Up, you mean down. We're under the surface of the moon, you know.
Oh, thanks, my friends and Superman. Welcome to King Poco's planet.
Oh, gosh, what happened to you, Poco? We've been looking all over for you. And what's that crown on your head?
I told you. This fat little fool considers himself a king.
I am a king. As of yesterday, I became monarch of all I surveyed.
Huh?
What do you mean, Poco?
Oh, my little friends thought I was pretty and made me king of their underground city.
Oh, what friends?
The moon dwellers, of course. Bless my beard. Who else?
You mean they didn't kidnap you out of the rocket?
Why, yes, of course. But can't you see? They did it to make me royalty. Out of a clear blue sky at first. Look at me. King Poco the First.
King Poco. Wait till Mr. White hears this.
I suppose they brought Professor Twiddle down here to make him your Lord Chamberlain, eh?
Shucks, I'm much too busy to hold up.
And they brought him to me for company.
And it's given me a wonderful opportunity to study the little creatures. They're really very intelligent, you know. I've even begun to understand them.
Wait, you mean you can understand their chuck-chuck talk?
Well, some of it, and their pantomime. It's very primitive, of course. If only I could find my notebook. Hasn't anyone seen
Where are your subjects, Poco?
They're all around, under the ground.
Oh, don't they live in these little huts?
Yes, but when the monsters thunder, they all get scared and burrow under.
Oh, are there any more of them around here, Professor?
No, young man.
Oh, boy, that's a relief.
These two, who lived on the other side of the moat, were all that remained of the species. And wasn't it clever of the moon dwellers to build their city here? They were protected from the creatures by the moat, you see, and the creatures protected them from any enemies who might approach through the tunnel.
But how could the moon dwellers get into their city?
There's another secret tunnel that branches off from the main one and comes into the city on this side of the moat.
Oh, we talked enough. Now, please have seats. My subjects will bring out to eat.
Eat? Did you say eat, Poco?
Oh, watch this, Jim and Superman. Beat this for service if you can.
Hey, what's that noise?
The Moon Dwellers pouring up from under the surface. See their long corkscrew noses?
Oh, yeah. But where's the food?
Oh, patience, Jim. In a moment or two. Now, here they are with food and brew.
Hey, he's right. Look, Jim, the little Moon Dwellers are bringing in the bacon.
Bacon? Oh, no, they have no meat down here. The flowers are very good.
Flowers?
Yes, and small nuts and berries.
Well, you mean we're supposed to eat flowers?
Well, you wanted to in the tunnel, Jim, remember?
Well, yeah, but...
Try them, Jim. They may look tasty, but upon my word, they're very tasty.
Hey, go ahead, Jim. They taste something like bananas.
Oh, all right, I'm so hungry I could eat anything. Hey, they are good.
Are they?
Well, let me at them.
Hey, the Moon Dwellers seem pleased you like their food. Hey, they're mighty cute little chaps.
They saved my life.
Oh, you like that, too. It comes out of a tree. And it tastes something like milk and, well, something like tea.
No kidding. Oh, I'll try it. What's that?
The other Moon Dwellers just came out of a secret tunnel. They're excited.
Look, all the others are running to meet them.
They're frightened. The two who just came in have bad news.
I wonder what happened. Look, they're all gathering around Poco.
Yeah. They're trying to tell him something.
Bless my beard. They appear to have very bad news.
Clamoring in great excitement, the moon creatures gather around Poco like chicks around a mother hen. What has happened? We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
Say, gang, if you happen to see Mom while she's making out her weekend shopping list, how's about reminding her to get you some more Kellogg's Pep? Because you'll want big bowls full of that sunny golden toasted cereal for breakfast over the weekend. It tastes a doggone swell. It's so crispy fresh. And you can use the extra vitamins you get in each serving of Pep. your daily minimum need of that sunshine vitamin D that helps you build strong bones and teeth, plus more than twice as much vitamin B1, an energy vitamin, as sun-ripened whole wheat. And here's something else you get when you eat lots of Kellogg's Pep. Prizes. Yes, sir. Those exciting, bright-colored comic buttons all the gang's collecting these days. Chances are you're getting close to having all 18 buttons in the series. And you want to round out your collection as soon as you can before I bring you some mighty big news. These buttons are so doggone snappy-looking that, well, all the gang's working mighty hard on their collections. And you know the best part is, these comic buttons are so easy to get. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But every time Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep, there's a prize exclusively for you. Just remind Mom to get P-E-P, Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, made by Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
There is great excitement in the Moon Dwellers' city beneath the surface of the moon. Dozens of the curious little creatures are gathered around Poco and Professor Twiddle, chattering fearfully as Superman and Jimmy Olsen look on. Now, the bearded professor who said he could understand the Moon Dwellers leaves their circle and approaches Superman and Jimmy.
Well, Professor, did you find out what's wrong?
Yes, Superman, yes. Look, my beard. This is terrible, simply terrible,
What?
that is. We're lost. We're all lost. You hear me? We're lost.
What do you mean? What's happened?
The ants. The what? The ants. They're coming.
Ants? What are you talking about?
The great red ants. Millions of them. They're on their way here through the tunnel.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what's that to get excited about? What's that? What's that, you ask? My dear young man, nothing can live in the path of those ants. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Millions of great red ants on their way to the underground city of the moon. No wonder even Superman fails. Fellows and girls, Monday's episode is one of the most exciting you've ever heard. So don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, and thrill to the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a counter-rated feature appearing in Superman DC publication. Want to hear a scoop? A big scoop of Kellogg news? Well, listen to this. Kellogg's Variety is back. Yes, Kellogg's have scooped 6 of their most famous cereals into this grand variety carton. One carton containing 10 separate generous-sized packages. So now it's easier for Mom. She just gets Kellogg's Variety, and everybody at the breakfast table can eat his favorite cereal fresh from its own box. Makes breakfast more fun than a picnic. Ask Mom right away to get Kellogg's Variety. It's swell, no fooling. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
You, finding life rather dull, dreaming again of exotic places, wishing you were somewhere else, we offer you escape.
Today, with the performance of John Daner as Isherwood Williams, Escape brings you one of the most unusual and terrifying stories of recent years. George Stewart's powerful novel, Earth Abides.
If you should awake some morning, tomorrow morning, let's say, if you should awake to a man-dead world where virtually all of human life had been destroyed from the face of the earth, leaving behind only buildings, bridges, machines, if you should awake to such a world tomorrow morning, what would you do? Where would you go? This is the year 3. My name is Isherwood Williams. 3 years since I returned from the lonely mountain country of Northern California to find that mankind had virtually vanished from the earth. Some unknown virus had scourged him from his high place among animals. His great cities were tombs. His entire civilization was crumbling. I toured the emptiness that had once been called America. From the silent towers of Manhattan to the Golden Gate Bridge, I saw in all 10 human beings still alive. In the 4th month after my return to San Francisco, I saw a light on Nob Hill. It was there I found Em, who became my wife. Year 1, the baby. Year 2, we called the year of the rats. Now it was year 3. Em, the baby, and I were struggling for existence amid the fast decaying wealth of San Francisco.
Oh!
All right, now be careful. Careful, Em.
Is it funny? It always makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong.
What?
Not breaking into the biggest food store on Market Street.
It's not wrong, Em. There's no private property anymore. This city, this grocery store, it's all ours now.
But Ish, look. Look at this place.
Yeah, the rats left their mark here, all right. There's the answer to their death. They ate all the food they could get at, then they ate each other.
Oh, Ish, how horrible.
It's a familiar pattern, Em. The species grows, dominates the earth for a short time, then dies. Now, come on. We'll take a look at the bottles and the canned goods.
Ish, look, the labels are gone. They're eaten off.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to try to guess at the contents by the shape of the can.
Well, the bottles are easy. Here, look. Bottles of real lemon juice.
Fine. This should be corned beef.
Look at it all. Tons of it. We could live on just this forever.
No, Em. We can't be scavengers forever. That's why the rats died. And we've got to grow things. We've got to bring something new into the world. Well, come on. Let's get some of this stuff home. During that year, Em and I found whatever we needed for ourselves and the baby in the empty, silent stores of San Francisco. We lived on the spoiling supplies of 1 million people. One evening, just after dusk, I suddenly noticed a strange, wavering glow in the sky over the downtown area of the city. I called Em to the window. There was a smell of smoke in the air. Fire, Em!
Ish.
San Francisco's on fire!
Ish. Isn't there something we can do?
No. If there were, it must be 3 square miles of flame.
What started it, do you suppose?
We'll never know. Oily rags in the basement, some gasoline explosion. Could be any one of 1,000 causes.
Will it reach the house?
No, I don't think so. Wind's blowing it away from us. It'll burn itself out in a day or 2.
We'll come away from the window.
Em. Em, do you smell gas?
I don't know.
It smells like it to me.
Open the door to the hall.
Yeah. Hey, the hall is filled with it. Hey, we've got to get out of here. Gas line must have burst. One spark in this place will blow up like a bomb.
Baby, I'll get the baby.
All right. We'll be safe from the fire escape. Hurry, Em. Here, I'll take the baby.
Be careful.
I'll just hang onto the rail and I'll walk slowly. Come on. We started down the fire escape. In the distance, the flames were gutting the heart of the city. Parts of Chinatown were already gone. Kept going down the street level, and then we started running. Any second, a spark could blow the building to dust, and we ran, our breath tearing in our throats. Hey, back against the wall, Em. Shockwave. Em, you all right?
Oh, my God.
It's all over, Em. We're going to be all right. We moved to another section of town that had been spared by the fire. The days passed, the days and the weeks. Em and I were growing tired of the canned foods and wanted some fresh vegetables and fruit. But we needed a car. One day, Em and I found a Jeep in a garage. In the storeroom, I found new tires to replace the rotted ones the Jeep had been standing on.
Will it work?
Well, after 2 years, hard to say. I'm no mechanic.
All the cars to choose from, and we picked something like this. I always wanted a convertible. Maybe a Cadillac or a Packard.
It's more useful and more durable. Besides, it's all we need. All right, Em. Let's try it. Step on the starter.
Mm-hmm.
No. All right, now try it. Ooh, come on. Come on, start. Oh. Good, come on. Good. Come on.
Ish, you did it.
One night, several months later, Em shook me awake.
Ish.
Huh?
Ish, wake up.
Hmm?
There's something outside moving around.
Huh?
Right by the window.
Give me the hammer.
Be careful, Ish.
I'll be all right.
I'll come with you.
Now, stay here. I'll be right back. Who's there? Who's there? Girl. Come here. Oh, I won't hurt you. Come here. What are you doing?
Eileen. My name is Eileen.
Where are you from?
Eileen. Hungry.
Well, come on inside.
Eileen? Oh, I've been looking all over for you. Eileen, where have you been? Okay, mister. You can put that hammer down. I ain't going to hurt you.
Oh, sure. Sure, well, come on inside. Em, somebody's here.
Just Eileen and me. She's my adopted daughter. About a year ago, I found her on Main Street in Los Angeles. She was starving. Can't forage for herself, Eileen can't, so I got to take care of her. She can't think so good.
Well, how long you been here?
About 2 days, wandering around the city. Nice city, this San Francisco. Wished I'd have visited here when it had people. Reckon I really could have had myself a time.
I'll get you two something to eat.
Well, that's mighty nice. Oh, by the way, I sure am an impolite cuss. If my name's Ezra, I don't believe I caught yours.
Isherwood. This is M.
Well, I'm happy to know you. Eileen, looks like we've met up with some real nice people.
Ezra and his new daughter Eileen stayed with us, made their home in the house next door. Now the year 3 has passed. We called it the Year of Ezra. November, the year 4. A woman came a week ago. She had dark hair, dark eyes. She was alone. Ezra has taken her for his wife. June 9th, the year 5, our second son was born this day. We named him Joey. April, the year 6, 2 men and a woman have come. George says he's a carpenter. Harry worked in a bank. Well, he'll have to learn a trade. The woman is called Mabel.
Ish, you better come with me.
Well, what's the matter?
The water. It stopped running in the faucets.
Well, maybe it's just a broken pipe in your place.
No, I checked, and it ain't just my place. I've checked all the houses around, and there ain't any water running in any of them.
Maybe it's a water main under the street.
I don't think so. You know what I think?
What?
I think the water stopped way up in the mountains someplace. Ish, San Francisco's going dry.
2 weeks, not a drop of rain. Ezra, we can't go on boiling the water forever. If we're going to live, we've got to get out of here.
Yeah, but there's still all them canned goods.
That's what's wrong, Ezra. We've been living off the old instead of building something new. But we've got to forget that water ran out of faucets and vegetables come in cans. We've got to start growing things ourselves.
We will when the time comes, I reckon.
You better come quick.
What is it, Em?
Eileen,
What's the matter with her?
she must have been drinking polluted water.
Typhoid.
Well, what does the book say, Ish? What are we going to do?
Isolate the others. Mabel can nurse Eileen.
What do we do for her? What's the treatment?
And you can't shorten the disease, it says. All you can do is help make it less severe. Now, don't worry, Ezra. We'll do our best.
Eileen, she's so helpless. She don't understand.
Yeah, but you move in with us. If this thing spreads, it can wipe out all of us.
Another case.
Who is it?
George.
Move him in with Eileen. Get another bed in there.
You won't have to.
What do you mean?
Eileen's dead.
This is the year 6, a year of disease and death. I went to the drugstores, walking the misty, dark streets of the city, armed with my medical text, my hammer. I raided the dusty shelves and the long, warm refrigerators of the pharmaceutical departments. The wonder drugs had long since rotted in their vials. Some sulfur was still potent, and I used it liberally. Yet case after case of typhoid broke out. Some lived, most died, including our firstborn. Our little community, upon which I had pinned the hopes of a new birth of mankind, had dwindled from 12 persons to 7. 5 adults, only 2 children.
You've got to get some sleep, Ish.
How many of us are left, Em? Count them for me.
Ezra, George, Mabel, our second son, Joey, and Ezra's boy. You and I.
Oh, Em. Em, what's the good of starting again? We're being exterminated from the earth, every small being of us, so things can become green again.
There are 7 of us, Ish. Once there was only me, and once there was only you. Alone and separated. There are still 7.
Oh, Em. Em, what would I do without you?
Go to sleep.
Well, you won't make the mistake a second time. Won't be any looking back. You'll forget the trains that used to run. And the tall buildings and the soft food to the earth. Back to the earth, Em. Back to the earth. We left San Francisco, we few survivors. We packed only the essentials, the machines, the conveniences. We left to the sun and the wind. From this time on, we'd work in the soil. The decay of the old times was behind us now. We went south and east until we came to a watered land, green, with growing things. This would be our Eden. Here, without the memories of a dead people about us, we would begin mankind again. Come here, Joey.
Yes, Daddy.
Joey, here, sit down here next to me. I want to ask you some questions.
Sure.
Now, first of all, what year is this?
Well, that's an easy question. The year 15.
Joey, did you do your reading today?
Yeah.
Joey, there's something I want to tell you. You know, there were once a lot of people like us on Earth. Millions. You know that, don't you?
Yeah. I read about them. They could fly.
That's right. Well, someday there'll be millions of people again. And they'll fly again, years and years from now. But after I'm gone, there won't be anybody to show them the way. That's why I'm depending on you.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
Learn, read, study. You're going to lead them someday, Joey, after I'm gone. Don't let them go back. You don't understand.
I think I do.
Oh, well, you will. Oh, look. I want to show you what I made this morning.
What is it?
It's called a bow. Guns won't be good much longer. The powder will get rotten. Guns will get rusty. You can hunt with this, kill animals for food. Here, look here, see? I carved it out of willow. Then I strung strips of calf hide from one end of the bow to the other. And now watch this. See here, this is the arrow.
That's fun. Let me try.
All right, here.
Like this?
That's right. Now pull back. Hard. No. Hard. There. Now, let go.
Boy, that's swell. Can I take it outside and play with it?
Sure, but be careful with it.
Hey, Billy, look what I got. Hey, Billy!
It took thousands of years for man to pass from the spear to the bow and arrow. I've just done it in 5 minutes. This is the year 19. I have gray hair. It's odd to think of myself as an old man. Well, I'm not really 51. There are 19 numbers in a smooth piece of rock in the meadow that I chipped in with my hammer and chisel. My hammer. What would I do without my hammer? Everything is going along well. Quite a farmer now. Community is growing. There are 45 of us. Strangers that drifted in. Babies born. Maybe man is something you can't quite kill off. The stranger named Charlie came in today. I don't like him. He's gruff and hard. And his eyes... I don't like his eyes.
Sure, 3 men at a time.
Gee, Charlie, how'd you do it?
With my bare hands. Came at me all at once. I grabbed 2 of them and banged their heads together. They cracked like coconuts. Then the other one I knocked down and stepped on his face. Wasn't much left of him after I got through.
Gee.
It's time for bed, Joey.
Oh, can't he tell one more, Dad?
Maybe some other night.
Okay. Good night, Dad. Good night, Charlie.
Good night, Joey.
Will you come tomorrow night?
Maybe. Great kid you got there.
What did you do in the old times, Charlie?
Oh, a lot of things. For a while I was a stickman in Las Vegas. Used to be a fighter, too. A lot of things. You name it.
You intend to stay?
Sure I intend to stay. Why not? No other place to go. This is the only good-sized group of human beings I've seen. And believe me, I've been around. Sure, I'll stay.
Everybody works. It's the only way we can live.
Listen, you. If I want to stay, I'll stay, and I'll stay on my own terms. I don't ask anything from anybody. I live my own way. You better understand that right now.
And you better understand something before we go any further, Charlie. I've been elected to leadership in this town, and we aren't a bunch of independent individuals doing what we please. We're a community, working together. Either you accept that, or get out.
We ain't gonna get along, Mr. Isherwood Williams. And I'm staying. Good night.
Gunshots! Ish, what is it?
I don't know.
Don't go out there, Ish.
Ish, he's roaring drunk.
Where is he?
Right outside.
Yeah. What's the matter? In there, you afraid? Come on out.
Ish, don't go.
Well. The great Isherwood. Howdy, Isherwood.
Down that gun, you crazy fool.
Let go.
Down.
Let go me, you.
Ish, are you all right?
Never mind me. Get that gun away from him. Get George.
Yeah. Where's George? Bring George. Let's see George take this gun away from me. Hey, George, come on and try to take this thing away from me.
Hey, what's going on here? Charlie, give me that gun.
Nobody's taking my gun away. It's mine.
Charlie.
What's mine is mine. Stay away.
Give me that gun.
Stay away, George. Stay away. I told him to stay away. George. George!
He's dead. How are you? You've done enough damage with that thing. Hand it over.
There's only one answer. Death.
Death. You mean kill him? Murder him?
No, it's not murder, Em. You, Mabel, and Ezra and I, we're the government now. We've been elected. Council of 4. There isn't any government but us. It's not a matter of punishment. It's protecting the community from a menace, and that's what Charlie is.
But he was drunk.
All the more reason he might do it again.
Afraid so, Em. We can't take the chance.
We're like a jury.
Let's vote. We've got all the facts.
The vote's been called. Any questions?
Is it right? Is it right to take a human life?
To save many lives, yes, Em, it's got to be right. We'll take a voice vote. You first, Mabel. What do you say?
Death.
Ezra?
Death.
Em? Well, how do you vote, Em?
Death.
It's unanimous. We'll carry out the sentence tomorrow morning. The Council of 4 had made its decision. This was not killing in passion or rage or hatred. This was the deliberate and sane elimination of an enemy. Early in the morning, we tied Charlie to an oak tree. Ezra took Charlie's revolver. Charlie stared at him with childish disbelief. He gasped, slumped into his ropes, his mouth red with blood, his eyes swollen in death. The power of the new state was born.
Grandfather? Is it the new year now?
Yes, Carl. New Year. Here, carry my hammer for me.
No.
It won't hurt you. My hammer. Here.
No, I don't want it.
Why not?
It's magic.
Magic? My hammer?
Aunt Phyllis says your hammer's magic. She says you're magic.
Carl, it's just a plain, ordinary hammer. No, Carl, don't be afraid.
No, it's magic. You're magic.
Dad?
Hello, Joey.
Carl, go and play.
Sure, Dad. Goodbye, Grandfather.
Joey, what's the matter with them? They say I'm magic. My hammer is magic.
You're a legend, Dad. You're the only one left out of them all. Ezra, George, Mabel, Mother M, all gone now. Only you. The hammer's a symbol. Symbol of leadership.
Yes, that's the way things happen.
You're the only one that's lived through from the old times.
The only one. The only one. Joey.
Yes, Dad?
I'm old. Very old, and I can't see very well. Did I make the numbers clearly?
Yes, Dad. 48. The year 48.
It's all begun again. Life. Generations and generations. O.M.
If you could have lived to see your faith come true. And once there were only the two of us, alone and separated. I want to see the old once more before I die. Just once more. The bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge.
We're here, Dad.
How does it look, Joey? Tell me. How does the Golden Gate Bridge look?
It's old and rusty, but it's wonderful. It's beautiful.
Is there a car? Small car on the bridge?
Yes, Dad, it's still there.
Can you still see buildings across the water?
Only a few, Dad. It's mostly overgrown. But the hills behind the city are beautiful today.
Good. Joey, here. Here's the hammer.
Yes, Dad.
You're the new leader now. The hammer has always been the symbol. Pass it on to the best of them. And, Joey, don't let them make a god of you. Let knowledge be the watchword. Oh, you understand, Joey?
I understand, Dad.
Know the earth, Joey. Know the earth.
Dad! Oh. Men go and come. But the earth abides.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. You have just heard Earth Abides by George Stewart, especially adapted for Escape by David Ellis. John Daner was starred as Ish with Peggy Weber as M. Featured in the cast were Michael Ann Barrett, Parley Bear, Jeffrey Silver, Paul Frees, Lou Krugman, and Larry Dobkin. The special music for Escape was arranged and conducted by Ivan Ditmars. Stay tuned now for Make Believe Town, which follows immediately on most of these same CBS stations. Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, where you spend an hour with Frank Sinatra every Sunday afternoon on the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You, finding life rather dull, dreaming again of exotic places, wishing you were somewhere else, we offer you Escape.
Escape with us now to Istanbul, the nerve center of Balkan intrigue and violence, and the story of a man caught in the fatal web of the most cold-blooded political organization on earth, as Eric Embler tells it in his famous tale, Journey into Fear.
Bonsoir, monsieur.
Bonsoir.
As if a bar of white-hot metal had been suddenly pressed against my hand.
and then it was numb. But I could feel the blood beginning to trickle through my fingers. There wasn't a sound. And as I crouched against the wall, I became dimly aware that the window was open and that someone was moving by it. And then my eyes, becoming used to the darkness, saw that whoever had been at the window had left by it. I reached for the light switch and found it. The hand hurt like the very devil.
Yes?
Is that you, Kopecki?
Yes, what is it? I have only this moment come in. Where are you?
I'm in my hotel room. Listen, something rather stupid has happened there. There was a burglar up here. He took pot shots at me as I came in, and one of them hit me in the hand.
Are you badly hurt?
No, but it gave me a nasty shock.
Have the police been notified?
No, not yet.
Good. Leave the matter to me. I will speak to a friend of mine about it. He is connected to the police and with great influence. As soon as I am finished, I shall come over.
Well, there's no need for that.
Excuse me, my dear fellow. There is never a need. You must stay in your room until I arrive.
Well, I had no intention of going out. Well, if you must come over, Kopecki, please hurry. I want to get some sleep tonight.
Does it occur to you that this man was shooting to kill you and that he came here for no other purpose?
Oh, that's nonsense. The man was a thief. Why should anyone wish to kill me? I'm the most harmless man alive.
Are you? Remember I told you that I was going to telephone a friend of mine?
Yes?
We are going to see him at once.
Oh, well, I'm jolly well not. I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
Unfortunately, I have official instructions. A man tried to murder you tonight. Something must be done about it at once.
Murder? Are you out of your mind?
I am sorry, my dear fellow. I can understand your feelings. But this friend of mine is Colonel Haki. He's the head of the Turkish secret police.
Oh, now, look here, Kopecki. What's this all about? I thought you were my company's Turkish representative. Now you talk about secret service and all that rubbish.
Please, I cannot tell you anything more. It is to our mutual interest that we go at once to Colonel Haki. You must believe me.
All this hysteria over absolutely nothing.
My dear fellow, it is most certainly not nothing. Get your overcoat. It's cold out.
You must realize, Mr. Graham, that an attempt was made to kill you tonight.
Well, now, I don't see that at all. I mean, I disturbed a thief at his work. He fired at me and escaped.
A thief? Unfortunately, no. I have a duty to do, Mr. Graham. It is to protect you.
Protect me? From what?
You are in the employ of Vessels Cater and Bliss Limited, the English armament manufacturers.
Yes.
You are, I believe, Mr. Graham, a naval ordnance expert.
I'm an engineer, and naval ordnance happens to be my subject.
Exactly. And your firm has contracted to do some work for my government. Certain new guns and torpedoes to rearm our naval vessels.
Well, that's true.
It is also true that our government stipulated that the work should be completed before spring.
Yes?
Exactly. Due to the international situation, we must have the equipment in our dockyards by that time. Let us suppose, then, that your thief had not merely grazed a hand, but had killed you.
Well, naturally, my company would send another man out.
Which would take time, Mr. Graham? Unless, of course, there exist sketches, drawings, and all that they need to know about our ships.
Oh. No. I mean, I was forbidden to put certain things on paper.
Then, if you were to die, it would take a great deal of time for another man to accomplish what you have already done, no? And when spring comes, our Navy's strength is still precisely what it is now. Do you know, Mr. Graham, that our enemies will do anything to see that it is so? Anything, Mr. Graham. Do you understand?
Oh.
Quite so. I have here, Mr. Graham, a photograph of a man. I am aware you did not catch a glimpse of the assassin's face, but I want you to cast your mind back over the time you have been in Turkey and tell me if you have ever seen him before.
All right. Hello. Yes.
You are sure?
Positive. Have a look, Kopecki. He was at the cabaret you took me to tonight. I remember him at the bar.
Yes, he was there. Excellent. Banat, Romanian. A hired murderer. We know him well. His price ranges from 50,000 francs upward. His employer is a man named Voroshin, who in turn is hired by his country to eliminate you. Unfortunately, we possess no photograph of him.
I begin to understand.
Of course you do. Now, we face the problem. You must return to England safely. But how? The train is out of the question. You wouldn't live for an hour. The aeroplane. Unfortunately, the weather here has disrupted service.
There is the Sestre Levante sailing for Athens tomorrow afternoon. It is a small boat.
And we can see that your enemies do not board her. From Athens, you can take the plane to England.
Well, I don't know, Colonel. In view of what you've told me, perhaps I should get in touch with the British embassy here.
And what do you expect them to do? Send you home in a cruiser? No, my dear Mr. Graham. This is a question of time. Leaving tomorrow afternoon will land you in Athens the day after. That is how it is to be.
Well, I seem to have no choice in the matter.
I am happy to see that you are cooperative. Return to your hotel, Mr. Graham. We shall see you safely aboard tomorrow.
The next afternoon, Kopekin and Colonel Hackey saw me aboard. As a bon voyage gift, they presented me with a bottle of Johnny Walker and a small pistol, both of which I put in my suitcase. Besides myself, there were 4 other passengers, all of whom Colonel Hackey assured me were harmless. The gangway went down, I felt the ship sway gently, and the journey had begun. My companions were an odd assortment of continental travelers. There were the Matis, who occupied the cabin next to mine, a middle-aged French couple who argued incessantly. Their voices penetrated the thin wooden bulkhead with dismaying ease.
The sheets are damp?
No, it is simply that they are cold. It does not matter.
You think not. You may sleep as you wish, but do not complain to me about your kidneys.
Cold sheets do not harm the kidneys, Sherry.
We have paid for our tickets. We are entitled.
Then there was a Mr. Couvetli, whom I learned at the dinner table was a dealer in tobacco. A short, heavy man with a smile fixed like that of a ventriloquist doll.
I go to England. Trade in tobacco is very good. England buys much tobacco from Turkey, you know. With American dollar so expensive and possibility of war, it is good business, Mr. Mati. So, I arrange a good deal of transportation for tobacco companies. What company do you represent? Passar of Istanbul. Passar? I must say these ravioli are...
The last passenger was a thick, round-shouldered man with a pale face and prominent blue eyes. He introduced himself over a brandy on the lounge.
My name is Haller, Dr. Fritz Haller. I'm a German, West German, and I'm on my way back to my country.
Oh, have you been long in Turkey?
A few weeks. I came there from Persia.
Oil business, huh?
No, Mr. Graham. Archaeology.
Oh, how interesting. Those were my fellow passengers. At 9 o'clock that night, the cutter came out from Kanakkale to take off the pilot, and with it came a telegram. It was from Kopekin in Istanbul, and it read, H requests me to inform you that Banat left for Sofia on train. All well. Safe journey to England. Best wishes. I thought of the pistol in my cabin, and I laughed to myself. It was an Aegean day, intensely colored in the sun, with small pink clouds drifting in a bleached indigo sea. I lazed in my bunk. I had coffee sent in. And later, I was standing by the rail talking to the little Frenchman.
Beautiful, beautiful. My wife has no appreciation for the lights such as these.
Oh, what a shame.
My wife, you mean? Oh, well, one cannot have everything. She is a wonderful cook.
How fortunate.
Yes. Oh, by the way, have you met our new passenger?
New passenger?
Yes, didn't you know? We stopped at the island of Lemnos during the night.
He came aboard then. A Greek, I think.
I hardly heard what he said.
Very sociable.
Because at that moment from the lounge stepped a man. Beneath the high-crowned, soft-felt hat were the pale, doughy features of a face I had seen before. A face in a photograph. A photograph that Colonel Hackey had shown me. It was the man who had tried to kill me. The Romanian. Banat.
Escape, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, returns in just a moment. Even the children cheer when they know school's open in our Miss Brooks' classroom. Yeah, she's here, charming, romantic, utterly madcap, and played to the hilt by Hollywood's Eve Arden. You'll love her, you'll laugh with her, again tonight on most of these same CBS stations. Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden. And now, back to Escape.
I heard Matisse' voice as though from a long way off.
Monsieur, do you not feel well?
Then I turned, and without looking at the man who had just come on deck, I went below. Somehow Banat must have learned that I was on the Sestre Levante. He had taken the train for Sofia, and then as soon as it had crossed the Greek border, left it. It was a simple thing to fly from there to Lemnos. I thought of the telegram. Oh, well, those idiots. And I was caught. Banat wouldn't miss twice. He was a professional murderer. I had to get help, and so I went to the purser's office. He was a precise little man who smiled when I talked to him. Look, I found out there is a man on this ship who is here for the express purpose of murdering me.
Indeed? And what is his name?
Banat. B-A-N-A-T. He's a Romanian.
Banat? One moment, sir.
And now look here, you don't suppose he'd give his real name, do you?
Banat? No. There is no one of that name or nationality aboard.
He got on during the night at Lemnos.
Oh, that is Mr. Mavrodopoulos. He's a Greek businessman.
That may be what his passport says. His real name is Banat, and he's a Romanian.
Have you proof of that?
Have I? Now look, if you'll just radio Colonel Hackey of the Turkish police at Istanbul, he'll confirm what I say.
As I say, sir, we do not have radio for that purpose. I suggest that you leave the matter until we reach Athens.
But can't you understand that man intends to kill me?
No, sir, I do not understand. Nobody on this ship is going to murder you. There are too many people about.
Oh.
You have had bad dreams. It is ridiculous.
I want to see the captain.
I am extremely busy, sir. If you will close the door as you leave.
I was almost sick with fear and anger as I left, and I went back to my cabin. Well, I could still go to the captain, but I could well imagine his reaction to my story. There was no proof, and these people were loath to stir up international complications. Oh, I was alone with my murderer somewhere on the ship with me. And then I remembered the revolver Kopetin had given me. I'd never handled a gun before, but at least it would give me a chance. It was something. I went to my suitcase and I opened it. It must be. I put it in myself just before I got on board. It had to be there. But there was nothing. Someone had been in my cabin and had taken the gun.
Mr. Graham, we were all worried about you.
I told them that you had the sickness. Too much sea.
Mr. Clark. We must go.
I'm sorry. I had rather a bad headache.
I hope that it is nothing serious.
No, thank you, Mr. Haller.
Have you met Mr. Mavrodopoulos?
No. I haven't had the pleasure.
This is our English friend, Mr. Graham.
How do you do?
Nice.
The soup is nauseating, Monsieur Graham. I suggest that you do not partake of it. When this woman... You keep on. Sorry, my dear.
Tell me, Monsieur Mavrodopoulos, are you bound for Athens, or do we enjoy your company as far as Genoa?
I go to Athens. Then perhaps I continue on. Or perhaps not.
A difficult decision, eh, Mr. Mavrodopoulos?
Yes. And notice your hand, monsieur. This bandage. An accident?
Nothing serious. A bullet wound, to be exact. Some dirty little thief took a shot at me in Istanbul.
Dirty little thief, huh? You must look after yourself carefully. You must be ready to shoot back. Next time.
Oh, I shall. There's not the slightest doubt of that.
You carry a pistol, huh?
Naturally.
That is good. One must be so careful. You should be very careful.
I don't think it's necessary. That sort of scum doesn't risk his skin with an armed man. The grin that had been on the Romanian's face faded. He hadn't liked that. And then I thought of something. Banat had taken my gun. It must be somewhere in his cabin. If I could slip away for 5 minutes, there was still a chance. As soon as the luncheon ended, I excused myself and I wandered off. I could see Banat engaged in conversation with Mati, and I prayed that it would be a long one. Banat's cabin was strangely bare. A grey raincoat hung with a soft hat behind the door, and a battered suitcase was under the lower berth. But the gun was nowhere to be found. Nor was it anywhere in the cabin. I went to my quarters feeling helpless and needing a drink to steady my nerves.
I have been waiting for you, Mr. Graham.
Oh. Mr. Haller.
I rather think that you have been looking for something. A gun, possibly? Would this be it?
Well, I don't understand how you...
No, Mr. Graham. Please, don't come any closer. Sit down. I came to have a little talk with you. Sit down. You know, Mr. Graham, poor Mother Adoptolus, or should I say Banat, is quite upset as I am. You have caused us a great deal of trouble and money.
Yes, I begin to see now. I wonder if your name happens to be Voroshin and not Haller.
Oh, dear me, I had no idea that you were so well informed. Colonel Haki must have been in a very talkative mood. And did he know I was in Istanbul?
I don't think so.
I thought not. You see, in order to take care of you, I had to take a hand myself. Banat was extremely careless at your hotel. When I found yesterday morning that you were to leave on this boat, I had to move very quickly. Luckily, there was a man named Haller who had booked passage with his assistant 3 days ago. Therefore, I took over his ticket and passport. Poor unfortunate. But it would have been awkward to book passage at the last minute without attracting Colonel Harker's attention.
Yes, I imagine it would. But now, supposing you come to the point.
Certainly. It must be clear to you that we cannot allow you to return to England. The obvious method of ridding ourselves of your presence is to shoot you the moment you land. But that could become complicated.
It could.
The other alternative is to induce you to take a holiday for 6 weeks or more.
I see. In other words, you hold up my return to England so that my company's work would be delayed to the point of uselessness for the Turkish government.
You have a keen mind, Mr. Graham. Tonight, we reach Athens. If you like the idea, you will live to see your England again.
And if I refuse to take this holiday?
Then things will be complicated, will they not?
I think you're bluffing. Hasn't it occurred to you that I shall repeat this conversation to the captain?
It has occurred to me. As a matter of fact, the purser was telling me about your little talk with him this morning. I'm afraid that the ship's officers, including the captain, have enjoyed the joke very much. They call you the mad Englishman and laugh. Well, Mr. Graham, which is it to be?
If I take this holiday, where will it be?
In a charming villa near Athens. You will enjoy all the comforts of home, I assure you. I shall give you an hour to think about it. Remember, we are not at war, Mr. Graham. You are not a soldier. In reality, you are doing your country no disservice. No one will ever know.
He left me alone. It was not a pleasant choice he had given me. I knew that Banat and he could keep their promise to kill me when I landed. And I was equally sure that the holiday Voroshin spoke of would be a very long one. That either way, I should never return to my wife or to England. I sat for half an hour smoking and trying to think. And then I remembered. Mati!
Yes? Oh, Monsieur Graham.
May I speak to you for a moment?
But of course.
What is it?
Monsieur Graham, ma chère.
Would you come into my cabin?
Certainly. I shall be back in a moment, my dear.
I need your help.
I thought that you looked serious. Is it money?
No. I want you to take a message for me when we dock at Athens.
A message?
Monsieur Marty, you are the only man aboard I feel that I can trust.
Oh, I am honored.
Listen. I'm employed by a British armor manufacturer. I'm working in joint service with the British and Turkish governments.
No.
When I get off the ship tonight, an attempt will be made to kill me.
This is true?
Yes, I'm afraid it is. What I want you to do is to go to the Turkish consulate in Athens and give him a message for me. Will you do that?
I will do it.
You realize the message is highly confidential.
I will say nothing.
Thank you. All right, then, this is it. Inform Colonel Haki, Istanbul, that Graham is forced to accompany Soviet agents Voroshin and Banat, traveling with passports of Hala and Mavropoulos.
Is it possible?
Unfortunately, it is.
Go on.
In the event of my death, please inform the British consul that these men are responsible.
Mon Dieu, so that is why you looked sick when I spoke of Mavropoulos this morning. Well, why do we have to get a shoot down the filthy swine? I have my revolver.
You have a gun? Here?
But yes, when one travels...
But then there is something else you can do for me.
Huh?
Let me buy your revolver.
I will not sell it to you. I give it to you. Here.
Thank you.
But let me help you.
No, this is splendid. Oh, I am grateful, Monsieur Marty. And you will take the message?
It is understood. Have no fear.
Half an hour later, I told Voroshin that I would agree to his plan. I'm sure that he didn't believe me, but nor did he know that I was armed. It was a forlorn hope. But if I was going to die, I would have the satisfaction of knowing that others would die with me. At 8 o'clock, the Sestre Levante was approaching her berth. I had agreed to pass through customs and to meet Voroshin on the street. As I stood at the rail watching the quay drawing closer, I saw Banat standing to one side, hand in pocket and a fat smile on his face. He knew that he was going to earn his fee tonight. Voroshin stepped off the ship first, turned, waved cheerily to me. Banat followed him, and they both disappeared into the customs shed. I walked slowly down the gangway. Mr. Kuvetli came pushing after me.
Mr. Graham! Please.
Yes, what is it?
Colonel Haki would be very angry with me if I allowed you out of my sight. I wanted to tell you before on deck, but Banat was watching. I did not dare to say anything earlier. Your face gives away too much, Mr. Graham.
You, Kuvetli, you're a Turkish agent? One of Haki's men?
Yes. I nearly gave the game away when I spoke of my non-existent tobacco firm. I thought you would know when the Frenchman questioned me. Colonel Haki wanted to be sure that you caught your plane safely. That is why I was aboard.
But what can we do?
Together we go through customs, and then we shall see.
Customs inspection, as ever on the continent, was slow. Although I found myself wishing that it would never end. But it did. And if Kuvetli had a plan, the evidence I didn't feel it worth mentioning. He smiled at everyone. The plump little businessman who, to all appearances, would deal in ladies' finery rather than international intrigue. And we found ourselves, suitcases in hand, walking toward the street.
So that is over. I find this inspection so tedious.
Now, look here, Kuvetli. I'm extremely grateful for your presence, but what are we going to do? Voroshin and Banat are waiting out there with a car. They're waiting for me.
I know. It has all been arranged.
But you mean that we walk through those doors and do nothing?
Absolutely nothing. You will see.
Well, I hope you have a gun.
I have.
Good. So have I.
Oh?
Yes, thanks to the Frenchman. There they are. Do we run for it?
Go on walking, Mr. Graham. Keep your hand away from your pocket. That's it.
Are you mad? They'll kill us.
You, Mr. Graham, not me. Go on. Under my overcoat is a gun. Please do not make trouble. Go on.
Oh, what a blithering idiot. You're one of them, too.
We're ready, Voroshin.
You've taken long enough. Hurry up.
Get a gun, Voroshin. Left hand pocket.
Get in, Mr. Kraft.
I remember a perfect fusillade of shots, and then something cracked me on the skull, and I was falling. It was all very dark and comfortable.
Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham.
Mr. Graham.
He is all right. Mr. Graham, Miss Kopekin, and Colonel Hackey. You are safe.
Oh, good show.
You've been unconscious.
Really?
You are at the airport now. You see, we found the bodies of 2 men in Ankara. They were archaeologists, Halar and his assistant. I realized that Voroshin and one of his men must have boarded the ship using their passports.
Yes, I found that out.
We flew a government plane here, Kopekin and I, to wait for you. The Greek authorities were kind enough to assist.
Yes, very, very kind.
Not at all.
And now, my dear fellow, the plane is waiting to take you to England. We'll see you safely aboard.
Yes. I say, what about Banat and Voroshin and Kuvetli?
Oh, yes. It was rather unfortunate. After you fell, they tried to get away in the car. Someone hit a tire. There was a smash-up. The petrol tank exploded. A tragedy.
Oh. Yes. Well, it's very decent of you.
My dear fellow, it has been a pleasure. Come along. We will help you to your plane. I am sure you're anxious to get home to England and your wife. Come along.
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you Journey into Fear by Eric Embler, especially adapted for Escape by Anthony Ellis. Ben Wright was starred as Graham. Featured in the cast were Wilms Herbert, Edgar Barrier, Rolf Sedan, Ann Morrison, Jack Crucian, Lou Krugman, and Shimon Ruskin. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Ivan Titmars.
Next week, escape with us to Malaya and the reeking-stricken city of Lahore, where a young doctor and a beautiful girl are faced with the horrors of plague and the bloody holocaust of a native revolt, as Charles Israel tells it in Funeral Fires.
Stay tuned now for Make Believe Town, which follows immediately on many of these same CBS stations. Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, where you spend an hour with Frank Sinatra every Sunday afternoon on the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy have conceived an extremely daring and dangerous plan to surprise 2 criminals who are holding Carol captive in the Martian hills. Right now, they're nearing the hideout in a small atmosphere ship.
We're getting closer. Fasten your safety belt, Happy. Here's where we intentionally develop power failure. I'm all set, sir. Hang on. About to make the worst landing of my career. That ground's coming up awfully fast, Commander. Got to make this look like a disastrous crash. Okay, but it's beginning to look too realistic. Now, brace yourself. It's beginning to look like a real thing to me, too.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, Crash Landing. Yes, it's Space Patrol, but first, a direct broadcast from the yard of Public School Number 10 on the planet Terra. It's recess here, gang, and I've got my eye on a fast-moving boy named Jeff Fisher. Man, is he supercharged. Hey, Jeff, come on over here and tell the gang how you get supercharged every morning.
I just do it the way Buzz Corey does it. I ate a good breakfast with a checkerboard super cereal, like Rice Chex.
Rice Chex? Say, that Rice Chex is real swell eating, right?
I'll say. And it's bite-sized, too.
Only bite-sized rice cereal in the universe.
Only rice cereal for me, boy. It's plenty keen.
You betcha. So, boys and girls, don't you think it's about time you tried Rice Chex? Remember, to think fast, to act fast, you have to eat a breakfast that supercharges you. A power breakfast with a checkerboard super cereal. So today, make it Rice Chex, the delicious bite-sized super cereal that helps to supercharge you. For several weeks, Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have been on the planet Venus, conducting an undercover investigation into a plot to defraud the United Planets government and Venus businessmen. Now, in civilian clothes, Buzz and Happy are in a surface car in Venus City, headed for the Venus City spaceport. Between them is a sealed pouch containing the results of their intensive work.
There's a private space cruiser waiting for us just inside the east gate. Oh, sir, do you think Theo knows that you've been investigating him personally?
I can't be sure, but by using private ships instead of Terra 5 or other official ships, we stand a good chance of not being detected.
Well, it sure was a bad break running into Carol last night in the lobby of the Venus Hotel.
Well, luckily, I don't think anyone overheard when she called out our names. I looked around very carefully.
You told her why we were in civilian clothes.
Mm-hmm. She may be able to help us now that she knows the facts.
It looks like we picked a good time to blast off from Venus, Commander. The whole east end of the spaceport is deserted.
We're in luck, Mr. Beale. Corey's car is the only one on the side road.
Well, we'll need a lot more luck to get that evidence away from him.
It's a break for us that he picked this deserted end of the port.
Speed on, Bob. We can pass him before he gets to the gate.
Then inside the gate, I make a quick turn, slam on the brakes, and you tumble out of the truck.
Yeah. Chances are Corey won't suspect anything when he sees that this is a regular Space Patrol maintenance truck. They're usually in a hurry anyhow. Pour on the power, Bob.
Car behind us. They're blinking their lights to pass.
By the way they're closing in, they must be in a hurry. Slow down a little and pull over.
Yes, sir.
Be on your guard in case they try anything.
Wow, that guy drives like a maniac. Did you see him whiz past us?
It's a maintenance truck.
I'll bet the driver's another one of those washed-out space pilots. They always drive like they're solar of the universe. Hey, look at him barrel through that gate. Commander, the fool's going to turn.
Happy, stop. Somebody fell out of the truck.
Smoking rockets. What a spill. He turned so fast it tossed the other guy out.
At least the driver stopped. Come on, Hap. Let's see if the man's hurt.
Yes, sir.
There's no excuse for that kind of driving.
It's lucky we weren't going much faster. We might have run over him, Commander.
Drop the commander, Hap.
Oh, sorry. I forgot. The fall must have knocked him cold.
I'll turn him over gently.
Okay.
He didn't know I was going to turn. I slammed on the brakes just as he pitched out of the truck. Yes, I saw it.
His head doesn't seem to be injured.
I hope there are no bones broken. Let's have a look at him. None of my business, friend, but you shouldn't make a turn at that speed. Yes, I know. I was in a hurry to get to the other end of the spaceport.
My leg. Just take it easy now. You'll be all right.
Now, don't move. Let's have a look at that leg.
Yeah.
Have a good look. And put down that wrench.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Grab the cadet, Theo.
I got him. Slug him, Henry.
Let go of me.
Hurry. Get to the surface car and grab the evidence.
Okay.
There is a dispatch case in the seat of the car.
That must be it.
Take a look in the back, just in case. We want to get all of it.
There's nothing back there, Bill.
All right, come on. Let's get to the truck.
Look down the road. Here comes another surface car.
It's headed right for the gate.
We'd better get the truck rolling before they get here and start asking questions.
Oh, we won't stand a chance in that truck. Let's take the spaceship.
Huh?
Hurry. We can blast off before the car gets here.
Happy.
Oh, my head.
Hap, our car and their truck are still here, but our spaceship is gone.
I thought I heard a blast off, but I figured it was inside my head.
I heard another car approach, but didn't come through the gate. It must have turned down the road paralleling the fence.
The evidence, sir. Did they get it?
Yes, it's not here. I guess our undercover work wasn't so undercover after all. It must have been Vio, and he and his partner have taken our private cruiser.
Well, maybe we can get another ship and blast off after them.
First, let's go to local headquarters and spread an alarm. You drive that truck, and I'll take the surface car.
Commander, an all-planet space patrol bulletin on VO is being spaceophoned now.
Good. I hope our units can intercept him before he has a chance to change ships.
We aren't going to stay here at Venus City headquarters, are we, sir?
Right now, there's nothing we can do that the search units can't handle. Besides, I want to investigate this gadget we found in the truck VO was using.
Oh, that funny-looking electrical device. What is it?
It's a stimutron.
A what?
Stimutron. It's a high-frequency electrotherapy machine used to treat advanced cases of venous fever.
Oh, you mean the blood condition that some people get from being in the Venus swamps too long?
Yes. This machine is the only successful cure. There are only about 6 stimutrons in the solar system, all in hospitals or clinics. No private individual has one.
Well, then what was this one doing in the truck?
Stolen, probably. Stolen by someone who needs the treatment, so who doesn't dare go to a regular hospital.
You mean Vio has Venus fever?
Or one of his gang. I'm notifying all doctors to report anyone applying for stimutron treatment.
Well, didn't Vio spend a lot of time around those Zyrola plantations in the swamps arranging crooked deals?
Yes. If he's got Venus fever, he made a bad bargain when he traded that evidence for the stimutron.
Oh, by the way, sir, did you get that message from Carol?
Yes, she called 2 hours ago. I guess she thought we'd be on our way to Mercury by now. She checked out of the hotel. I just contacted the manager.
Checked out? I thought she was going to stay here a week.
I guess she suddenly changed her mind. She left orders for the hotel to forward her luggage to Mercury. We don't have any idea where she is.
I wonder why she decided to go to Mercury all of a sudden.
I hope it isn't her plan to follow us.
Well, if it is, she's going to get a surprise when she lands on Mercury and finds out that we aren't there.
We'll be on Mars in a couple of hours, Mr. Vio. It's a great idea of yours, taking Corey's space cruiser.
Well, I've been checking over this evidence Corey gathered. You know, if this ever got to court, I'd be finished.
Well, there's nothing to worry about now. All we've got to do is lay low.
Henry! Oh, no.
What's the matter, Mr. Vio?
Oh, the stimutron. I left it in the truck.
Oh, well, there's probably one in Lowell City Clinic on Mars.
I can't just walk into the clinic with every space patrolman in the universe looking for me. I got to have those treatments. You know what that Venus fever does to me. It makes me helpless as a baby.
Well, what are we going to do? We can't go back to Venus.
Of course not. Henry, this is awful. Listen.
What?
I thought I heard the compartment door close back out.
Oh, you're just nervous. Relax, Mr. Vio. You'll think of a way to get those treatments.
Yeah, sure. I just got to.
Buzz, Happy, I hope you won't be angry.
What are you doing aboard?
Well, I thought
Mr.
this
Vio.
was...
It's the girl we saw at the hotel.
Shut up, Henry. All right, miss. What are you doing aboard our ship?
Your ship? This is Commander Corey's ship, Mr. Vio.
You know who I am. You have the advantage of me, Miss...
Carlisle. Carol Carlisle.
Secretary General's daughter.
That's right, and I demand you return this ship to Venus immediately.
That's impossible.
We can't keep her with us, Mr. Vio. She's dynamite. The smartest thing for us to do is drop her off somewhere and be sure she's safe.
Yes, I know. You're right, Henry. But if we do, we're running a good chance of being captured. Why did you have to spoil everything by being aboard?
I had some information to give Commander Corey about you, Mr. Vio, and your friend Bob Henry. I was going to tell them where they could find you.
Well, your attempt at playing detective has put you in a delicate position, and me in a dangerous one.
Can't let anything happen to her, Mr. Vio. I'd say it's worth the risk to see she's returned safely.
Wait a minute. Maybe this is a break for us after all.
Yeah, some break.
We can get this girl off our hands and still have a chance to avoid being captured. Henry, we'll go on to my hideout on Mars. I know how we can contact Corey without the risk of being captured.
Commander, communications picked up Carol's voice on Spaceophone Channel 87.
What?
Yeah, it's being taped, sir.
Channel 87.
Perfectly safe. I can't tell you where I am, but Don Vio and Bob Henry intend to release me.
This is Don Vio, Commander.
Vio's got her.
Don't try to contact me, just listen. I've got Carol Carlisle, but it's her fault, not mine.
That's true. I was aboard your private cruiser, Venus City Spaceport. After the ship blasted off, I came out to give you some information about Vio and found him and Bob Henry at the controls.
Just keep listening, Corey. Carol's voice and mine are on a microtape, automatically repeated from a robot-controlled rocket. It won't do you any good to locate her rocket.
He's a tricky crook, all right.
Get this, Corey. I want to get Carol off my hands. All I ask is a break. I've got Venus fever. If I don't get that stimutron back, I'm finished. Here's my proposition. Put a man in a spacesuit and drop him off in space at a point which I will give you in a moment. Withdraw your ship 10,000 DUs and wait 2 hours. I will pick up the stimutron from your agent and leave Carol near him. Also in a spacesuit, of course. Now get this. Carol's suit will be equipped with a cartridge that can be exploded by an electronic signal from my ship.
Space
Try it, Happy.
If any attempt is made by your men to space a phone, you, before the 2-hour limit is up, I'll detonate the cartridge. Now, here's the point to drop off your men.
Write this down, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Sector 4 Jupiter orbit, at intersection of celestial meridian 22, sun ecliptic angle 2 degrees, 23 minutes, 15.84 seconds.
Got it, sir.
If you agree to these terms, spaceophone your answer on 139 megacycles. I'll be listening. Stand by for a repeat of this tape. VO out.
Cut it, Happy. The tape is on automatic rewind.
What are you going to do, Commander? Give him the stimulus?
Of course. I want VO, but I want him alive. If we get Carol back safely, we can go after VO with everything we've got. Switch to 139 megacycles, Happy. As I computed, Happy, this is the location VO specified. I'll reverse rockets and stop the ship.
Right, sir. I'll get into my spacesuit.
Well, there's the stimutron.
What about that gadget I'm supposed to attach to VO's ship?
Oh, right here.
It's a miniature spaceophone transmitter.
Uh-huh. With a magnetic attachment to hold it to the hull of the ship. It's set to start sending a signal 2 hours after it's fastened to the ship. All right, into the airlock, Happy. Don't waste your spacesuit transmitter until I contact you. Remember that explosive cartridge in Carol's suit. Commander Corey aboard Terrified, calling Cadet Happy. Come in, Happy.
Happy to Commander Corey. Are the 2 hours up?
Yes, did VO show up?
Yes, sir. Everything worked fine. He dropped Carol out quite a distance from me, and I've been using my jetpack to get over to her.
Is she all right?
I don't know, sir. She hasn't moved. She's just floating. I haven't been able to contact her by spaceophone.
I'll come and pick both of you up.
I've reached her now, sir. Why, that stinking crook.
What's the matter, Happy?
Carol isn't here, Commander. The spacesuit is empty.
We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. Hey, you want to have some fun, gang? Listen to this jet cycle. Why, it's just a putt-putt, that's all it is, because all it has to go on is ordinary fuel. But pour in some super fuel and then see what happens. Wow, that jet cycle is supercharged now. Yes, sir, when it comes to supercharging, there's only one answer: super fuel. And the same thing holds true for you, especially in the morning when you haven't eaten for hours. To really get going, you have to get supercharged. Now, here's Buzz Corey's way of doing that. He eats a power breakfast with rice checks or wheat checks, the super cereals. And boy, oh boy, you ought to see how the commander dives into that checks. Yes, sirree, gang. Checks are really good. They're so good, you grab the biggest bowl you can find, you shake in the checks, pour on the milk, sprinkle on the sugar, and that's it. You're eating the best-tasting cereal in the universe. And to make a good thing even better, Rice Checks and Wheat Checks have that modern bite-sized design for easy eating. Zip, zip, zip. That's how easy it is to eat Checks. Now remember, gang, a rip-roaring breakfast with Checks is Buzz Corey's way of getting supercharged. So get going in the morning the way he does. Get out a big bowl and fill it with Rice Checks or Wheat Checks, the super cereals that help to supercharge you. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have followed to the letter the agreement with Don Vio, who promised to return the Secretary General's daughter Carol at a prearranged point in the Jupiter orbit. But instead of Carol, Vio pushed an empty spacesuit out of his ship. The commander has arrived at the scene of the rendezvous, and Happy, now aboard the commander's ship, is removing his spacesuit.
That double-crossing, underhanded space rat.
Vio is all of that, but now we've got to help Carol.
He must have done something to her. And now he's got the stimulus.
He's also got a miniature spaceophone attached to his ship.
Hey, that's right. Do you think we can pick up the signal yet?
Now turn on our receiver.
Hey, it's working, sir. Now we can track him down.
Yes, but we've got to be careful. As long as Carol's in his hands, we can't take a chance on closing in on her.
Oh, doggone it. Cosmic ray interference.
See if you can filter it out, Happy.
Yes, sir. All the times for that to happen. That seems to be getting worse.
We'll keep on this vector. Maybe we'll pick up the signal again.
I got it, Henry. The steamer.
Oh, good. Any trouble?
No, not a bit. Corey and Nicolette were as good as their word. Have you found Carol yet?
No. Frankly, I haven't looked. She was stupid enough to crawl out the back room window. Let her take the consequences.
Don't you understand? If she's not found, we'll have to take the consequences.
Oh, all right, Mr. Veal. Come on. We'll look for her.
No. You look for her. I got to hook up the stimultron and take the treatment. I'm getting an attack of Venus fever.
The interference is gone, sir. I've got a fix on the signal.
Good.
It's coming from the direction of Mars, and the source is stationary.
Then Vio has landed. We'll head for Mars and locate the ship.
I've got it, sir. The ship's down in the Tharsis Hills.
Let's scan the terrain with a viewscope, Happy.
Yes, sir. There's the ship. Shall we come in lower, sir?
No, not in this ship. We can't let Vio know we've located him.
How about notifying other units and swoop in quick and surround him?
Remember, for all we know, Carol's still safe. If Vio's cornered, there's no telling what he might do to her.
Well, then we're stymied.
Well, not quite. There's one way we can land the ship fairly close to his hideout without making him suspicious.
What's that, sir?
Commercial atmosphere ships fly over this part of Mars. So we'll head for Lowell City and borrow one.
Well, wouldn't Vio get suspicious if a commercial ship landed in that deserted section?
Sure. If it was an ordinary landing. That's why I'm going to space a phone ahead and order a couple of crash suits.
Crash suits?
Uh-huh. We're going to stage an accident right in Vio's front yard.
Carol! Miss Carol, I see you. Don't try to get away. Come here. You little fool. Where do you think you're going?
I thought I could get to a relay station.
There isn't one for miles. Besides, you're heading the wrong direction. Now, come back to the shack.
And if I refuse?
And I'll carry you back. Why don't you be sensible? When the sun goes down, you'll freeze out here. What was the idea of running away in the first place? Vio was going to return you to Corey.
I don't trust him.
Well, one thing's certain. You won't survive the night out here in this hill. So you might as well trust us. It's to our advantage now to get you back safely.
All right.
Well, now you're showing some good sense for a change.
Getting closer.
Yes, we can cut the signal now. Well, fasten your safety belt, Happy. Here's where we've developed power failure.
I'm all set, sir. I guess.
Now, Hap, here's where I make the worst landing of my career. Nervous?
When I put the shock suit on, I thought I could jump off a skyscraper in it, but now I'm not so sure.
Near that knoll, Hap. 100 yards from Vio ship. Now, brace yourself. Here we go. Well, here we are. Everybody out.
A very realistic crash, sir.
Are you all right?
Yes, sir. Except I can't move my right foot. It's caught in the wreckage.
Was it hurt?
No, sir. The padding of the suit protected it. It's just wedged in.
Vio and his partner will be running out here very soon. Maybe I can pry that bent door alloy apart and get you out before they get here.
Well, why don't we go ahead with our original plan? Leave me here in the ship while you circle around to the shack.
Our original plan didn't call for you to be helpless.
Well, that'll make it look all the more like a real crack. Besides, Carol may be in danger.
Well, you may be right, Hap, but you'll be safer if you pretend to be unconscious.
Yes, sir.
I'll climb out the port. Hey, we did a good job. What a mess. If you're in trouble, use your miniature spacer phone. I'll keep mine on.
Here, where are you going?
To the ship.
Oh, no, you don't. I'll get back to the shack.
But somebody might be hurt. We've got to help them.
Nobody could be alive in that mess.
Well, I'm going to see anyway.
Carol, come back here. We've got to get Vio and blast off before the rescue ships arrive.
Get Vio if you want. I'm going to help.
Carol, come away from that wreck. It might explode.
Oh, pilot. I can get him out.
Sorry.
Happy. Are you hurt?
Well, I'm okay. The commander and I planned.
Miss Carol, get away from that wreck.
It's Bob Henry, Vio's partner.
Danger to know me.
Miss Carol, if you don't get away from it.
It's unconscious. Why don't you go get Mr. Vio?
Yeah, now, isn't it lucky he was wearing a crash suit? Stand back, Carol. Let me have a look at him. Oh, Corey's friend, the cadet. All right, snap out of it, cadet.
Leave him alone.
Quit playing possum. I heard you talking to Carol.
All right. Quit shaking.
I'll get out of the ship.
I can't. My foot's caught.
Oh, it is. Well, I guess you won't be much trouble. Just to make sure.
What are you going to do?
Give the cadet an anesthetic.
Don't hit him.
Oh, my hand. That blow never even phased it.
It's the shock suit, stupid. And if you come near me, I'll clout you into the next sector of Mars.
There's no use bothering with you. Commander's probably around here somewhere. I've got a way to handle both of you.
What are you going to do?
Plant this cartridge in the wreckage where the cadet can't reach it.
No. Give me that.
Get away.
Hey, don't shove her around like that.
She'll get worse than shoving around in a minute. There. Now, if I have to detonate that cartridge, cadet, well, with all these metal fragments and the remaining fuel trickling through the wreckage, there ought to be quite an explosion.
Henry, you can't do that.
And it's up to you to see that I don't have to. Come on, Carol. I'll get Vio in the detonating control. And, cadet, if Corey's smart, he'll let you stay alive to see us blast off. Go on in, Carol. Hurry up.
Yeah, good work. You found her.
Did you hear that crash, Vio?
Yeah, I saw the ship hit the other side of the knoll. I was going out, and I saw you and Carol run over. No survivors, I suppose?
Too many. Vio, we've got to get out of here. Corey and the cadets staged that crash.
What?
Cadet's pinned in the wreckage. Corey's probably around somewhere.
Come on, then. We got to get to our ship and blast off.
Wait a minute. Where's that detonator unit? The one that explodes these cartridges.
It's on the shelf. What do you need that for? Let's get out of here.
I've planted a cartridge in the wreck to take care of Corey and the cadet. Okay, now let's go.
We'll have to take care of that for protection. Corey will send a flock of patrol ships after us. Come on, Carol, let's go.
Take your hands off of me.
Let go of her, Vio. Get your hands up. You too, Henry.
Oh, Buzz.
Hurry. We're blasting off. Put that gun away and step aside.
If you don't, I'll fix that cadet of yours for good.
Buzz, he means it. Henry put one of those electronic cartridges in the wreckage.
And all I've got to do is press this button and transmit a signal that'll blow that wrecked ship to bits.
Play it smart, Corey.
Give me that gadget, Henry.
I warn you, don't come any closer.
One more step and your cadets are goner.
We'll see.
Right, press the button, Henry.
Right.
Oh, Buzz.
Corey, I didn't think you'd make me do it.
Oh, well, it was a wreck anyway.
Happy, I thought...
Carol, stand back.
Rush them, Henry.
Carol, get out of the way.
Henry, get the gun.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh.
Have any more ideas, Vio?
No.
Buzz, I nearly died when that wreck exploded. I thought that Happy would be blown to bits.
I caught a glimpse of Happy through the window. He'd already gotten out of the ship. I couldn't tip you off in front of these two.
I'd pried myself out of the wreck with a hunk of loose metal.
Happy, let's get these characters into their ship and take them to Terra.
Yes, sir. Come on, Henry, on your feet.
Vio, where's that pouch full of evidence you stole from us?
They destroyed it, Buzz. They burned it.
Yeah, at least we got ahead of you there, Corey. Now you can't convict us of larceny and fraud.
That isn't going to help you, Vio.
No, compared with what we've got on you now, larceny and fraud are going to sound like flattery.
An exciting preview of next Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. But first...
Hi, boys and girls. This is your commander reminding you to send in today for a pair of space binoculars. Send in today because this offer is soon going to end. You see, I don't want you to get left without one of these swell new binoculars. They're an item I want every single one of you to have. I just couldn't get along without my space binoculars. And for you to be a real space patroller, for you to be one of my own gang, you should have a pair of official Space Patrol space binoculars, too. So don't get left out. Send for your space binoculars today. They make everything in the distance look bigger and clearer. You don't even have to hold them. Just slip them over your head and a strong elastic band holds them snugly to your eyes. You can study birds in the trees, spot planes in the sky, read faraway signs, see who's coming up the block, and do all kinds of other things with them all year long. Yes, sir, they're the real McCoy. 4-power space binoculars exactly like mine. Big plastic binoculars, 5 inches long and 5 inches wide. When you wear them, they stand out from your eyes 3.5 inches. So you see, they're not flimsy celluloid goggles or a mask. Now, don't get left out. This is the biggest value we've ever offered, and the offer soon ends. Captain Dick Tufeld, tell the gang how to get their space binoculars.
Buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. Gang, if you don't agree your binoculars are tops, return them and we'll return your money. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, an action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy have descended into a canyon on Venus to rescue a wounded space pilot. As they reach the injured man, a flash flood roars down the river, piling water up behind the dam above them.
We gotta get him out of here quickly, Happy. The water's rising fast. Once we get him to the lake, we shouldn't have any trouble carrying him to the top. It's a landslide. Press close to the dam and keep your head down. Smoking rockets, that was close. Hurry. We gotta get him up the path. There may be another landslide. Commander, look up there. Most of the ledge is swept away. We're trapped.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Mysterious Meteor, when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present Space Patrol!
This is Commander Corey congratulating a great organization on its 43rd birthday, the Boy Scouts of America. You're an inspiration to youth, a part of America itself. Space Patrol salutes you, Boy Scouts of America.
Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Ken Mayer, Virginia Hewitt, Bela Kovach, and Stephen Robertson. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program on your local ABC TV station. Consult your paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.